How big is it? Oh, it's pretty juicy. It's not the biggest we've seen, but it's pretty juicy. Start fresh in a new economy. In each area of Runes of Dolly, you'll find Remnant, which allows you to craft an item which you're choosing. Runes recipe, okay. Depending on the rune shapes used, you will then face an encounter with tough enemies that you will need to defeat to claim your item. Each additional rune shape used to craft the item will increase the number of wave of enemies, adding additional runic modifiers to the enemies with each wave. Remnants start with any number of slots between 2 and 10, with higher numbers are being much rarer, but allowing you to craft much rarer items. Monster race for Remnants can drop Verisium metal, a new currency. Add a new NPC Pharaoh with 4 new quests in the campaign, allowing you to unlock various new crafting features. New crafting system, Verisium runeforging. After unlocking Verisium runeforging Act 1, this system allows you to add runic ward to your armor by spending Verisium. Armor lower than 55 gain runic ward with no downside. Armors above 55 trade some of their regular base defense for runic ward. Add a new defense, runic ward. This defense kicks in once you reach 1 life, allowing you to continue to survive while your runic ward takes damage. Runic ward regenerates independently of your life. 13 new alloy currency, which can be unlocked through Remnant encounters after completing Pharaoh's quest in Act 2. These add various new crafted modifiers, replacing existing modifiers, simply perfect essences. So most of this we've already seen, right? After unlocking the unique Verisium runeforging in Act 3, you can upgrade the base type of unique armors that drops at level lowers to 55. You can upgrade the base type of unique armors that drops at lower than 55. Huh. Okay. I don't think I must have missed that part. That's kind of cool. These upgrades generally increase the base defense, allowing low-level unique armors to become more competitive in the endgame. Unique armors above 55 can still be runeforged to modify their defense to include runic ward at the cost of reducing their other defense similar to the other base types. They only showed weapons? Yeah, that's what I remember as well. That's actually pretty cool. I like this. Okay, unique Verisium runeforging has additional properties when used on Calguran uniques. We knew this. Added 13 ancient runes, which can be unlocked to be crafted by Remnant encounters after completing Pharaoh's quest in Act 4. These runes have powerful bonuses specific to each weapon type. 13 mythical early game game runes that can be crafted from Remnant encounters to provide a significant boost to level 15 plus characters. Added 3 fluxes, which can be crafted from Remnants to transform. Added 3 fluxes, which can be crafted from Remnants to transform the resistances on your items from one element to another. They're actually giving it. Bro, there's no way they're doing this. No way we're actually getting the resistance swap from Harvest from PoE1. This is crazy. I didn't think they were gonna do it. You know, it's this close to skipping this part. They're like, yeah, we've seen it all. I was like, okay, let's read if there's anything we missed. This is big, like massive. Holy shit. Good lord. That actually crazy. Okay, what else do we have? Added 15 meta crafting runes that can be crafted from Remnant. Meta crafting runes. 60 plus runes that can be created by destroying a unique item to make a rune that gives some of its properties. This one's going to be very interesting to see what we can do with. Added 15 plus runic ward runes that can be crafted from Remnants, adding or modifying properties related to runic ward. 21 Calguran skills that can be crafted from Remnants. Animus exchange, animus splinters, bitter dead, conductive runes, detonate living. Eternal March, Explosive Transmutation, Fragments of the Past, Frostflame Nova, Grim Pillars, Hollow Shell, Ley Lines, Powered by Verisium, Refutation, Remnants of Calgur, Repulsion, Runic Reprieve, Skyfall, Triskelion Cascade, Verisium Manifestation, and Voltaic Barrier. What the fuck is Detonate Living? And then it's the March one, Bitter Dead, Animus Splinters. Where's the March one? Eternal March. Added 8 Calguran supports can be crafted. Remnants, Concussive Runes, Fist of Calgur, Healing Runes, Calguran Conviction, Runeforged Blaze, Runic Extraction, Runic Infusion, and Scouring Flame. Interesting. Expedition Remnants have been changed into the Remnants from the Runes of Aldur League. New endgame story. Set out on an expedition with Pharaoh to explore the ocean as you investigate the tombs of fallen Calgurans and challenge them to earn remarkable rewards. Seek out the crater of the fallen star, a meteor of pure Verisium from which you hope to forge objects of immense power if you can defeat what awaits you there. There's now a hub area, Ruins of King's March, from the Ruins of Aldur to the southeast for your starting location on the Atlas. The logbook mechanic has been changed into an ocean exploring mechanic, Boat League. Using logbooks now unveils a section of the ocean with a variety of islands to explore. We've seen this. Many new underground areas have been added that can be uncovered during expeditions. Many new islands have been added to the Grand Expedition, previously known as logbooks. Medved, Voran, and Uthred join Olroth as the 4 factions. Oh, we're getting all of them. Oh. So for those of you who don't know who these are the expedition bosses. Available to fight to the new island that you can discover in the ocean. This is so good. Defeating Olroth will give you a key that you can use to access the new pinnacle boss of the Runes of Aldur. Aldur or Aldur? The new Runes of Aldur Challenge League include the first set of challenges in Path of Exile 2. Earn pieces of the Knight of the Aldur armor set when you complete 2, 4, 6, and 8 challenges in Runes of Aldur. These challenge rewards are only obtainable in this league. It's their first challenge league. Or challenge rewards, rather. From the first challenge onwards, and for every challenge after that, you will receive pieces of the Runes of Aldur totem decoration to display in your hideouts. Oh, they're still doing totem pole. The totem pole permanently showcases how many Runes of Aldur challenges you completed during the league. I thought we were getting a statue, not a totem. Am I going crazy? I was hyping up how it was a statue instead of totem for once, because I wasn't happy with the totems. All of your old characters from early access launch are still present, but free passage tree refund have been granted due to the changes. We would highly encourage you to join the new league to fully take in the changes we've made with the 0.5 update. It's a different totem. Okay. With 0.5, the standard hardcore soul self and variation of the Runes of Aldur Challenge League available. They have the same core mechanics and items. You can create private league versions of these leagues. The hardcore variations of Runes of Aldur are parented to the standard Runes of Aldur equivalent, meaning if you die in hardcore, you can continue on in the standard Runes of Aldur League. Endgame. Small section for endgame. The Atlas now has fixed points of interest in specific locations, giving you distinct objectives that are easy to find. All league mechanics on the Atlas are now quests that introduces the mechanic and guide you through its various stage ups to the pinnacle boss. All pinnacle bosses have a quest version that can be accessed deterministically alongside repeatable non-quest versions that offer greater challenge. Added 30 new endgame map areas. Origins of Divinity, the endgame overhaul. New endgame storyline. The Cataclysm of the Beast has invoked an ancient protocol. Designed to scour for and purge corruption, should it ever take hold to this degree. Traverse the Atlas to enter the fortress and activate the gates. Obtain the keys to reach the ancient precursor weapons and disarm them. On completion of your first tower, a fortress will rise from the earth. Terraforming. Maps inside the fortress grants 1 or more passive points for the Atlas passive tree. This entirely replaces the previous method of gaining Atlas points. The Atlas tree has been significantly expanded with over 300 nodes. After completing all the maps inside the fortress, you will gain enough passive points to fully allocate the entire Atlas tree. As the entire Atlas tree can be fully allocated, there is no need to allow respecializations for it anymore. Multi-choice nodes on the tree can be changed between options at any time. Many maps in the fortress have ancient modifiers that add or modify the contents of the map. Any maps with modifiers that add secondary content to a map also implicitly add that content to the map as well. Added 40 plus ancient modifiers have a chance to appear on any map outside the fortress. Added 3 gateway maps with 2 new bosses that can be used to access different sections of the fortress. New precursor tower maps have been added outside the fortress. The burning monolith, along with the Arbiter of Ash, has been moved into the fortress. Quest versions of the Crisis fragments have been added to 2 Enigma chambers inside the fortress. Added 2 new Citadel bosses with 2 new bosses that drop keys to the new Pinnacle boss. Added Arbiter of Divinity Pinnacle boss. Maps to the fortress can be alternatively completed by killing the Arbiter of Divinity 5 times to complete different sections of the fortress automatically in order to gain Atlas passive 3 points. Interesting. Masters of the Atlas. Alongside the Atlas tree, the new system called Masters of the Atlas introduces ascendancy-style progression for the endgame. Players can align with different masters such as Yado, or the Order of the Jinn, or the Monster Hunter Hilda, each offering unique asymmetric bonuses that can be swapped between maps at will, enabling build-defining bonuses. Each master has 12 nodes, of which 4 can be selected at the same time. You can change your selection at any time. All 3 masters can be allocated at the same time with quick selection select button to change between each master before you run a map. Unlock each row of 3 nodes by performing missions for the master. New Atlas Master Doriani's Science questline is unlocked by clearing a corruption nexus. New Atlas Master Hilda's Hunting questline is unlocked by visiting Hilda's campsite slightly southwest of your starting location on the Atlas. New Atlas Master Yado's Spycraft questline is unlocked by completing an anomaly map near the starting location. Okay. Holy shit. Delirium. New storyline. An ancient trickster god has been unleashed, spreading madness across the raid class. Do you dare to uncover his origins and confront your darkest fear? See this for more details. Okay, so that's covering this. Okay, good. There's now a hub area, the Withered Willow, for the Delirium to the southwest of your starting location on the Atlas. The maps around this location all contains Delirium and gives you points to the Delirium Atlas passive tree. The Delirium Atlas passive tree has been completely revamped with many new nodes and existing nodes changed. After breaking the Delirium mirror, there's now a progress bar showing how deep you are in the fog and how long you have until the fog clears. The start of the Delirium bar represents your initial location at the Delirium mirror, and the end of the Delirium bar represents the location of the map boss. There are now a set of the new Delirium encounters that can be seen on the Delirium bar. Reaching certain depths will cause colored mirror shards to appear. Walking into the mirror shard will break them, activating new encounters. The direction of the map boss can be observed by looking at the fog effect. Moving in the direction of the fog will always lead you to the map boss. Map bosses in Delirium will always be 100% delirious. You know how much less damage a 100% delirious monster takes? They take like no damage. That's pretty cool. The damage and light bonus given to monster delirium has been reduced. Never mind, I take it back. Fuck's sake. Literally on the next comment. Okay. Okay, never mind. Added 5 new delirium monsters. Add a new sub-area, Loathsome Mire. The Loathsome Mire drops 2 new amulet-based types that grant 2 instilled notables at the cost of either -1 suffix or -1 prefix. Wow. Liquid emotions can now be used to craft additional mods and jewels. These work similarly to greater essences, each having a set of specific mods that will replace a random existing mod on the item. Completing Delirium Mirrors now has a chance to spawn Grand Mirrors on the Atlas on a nearby map. Grand Mirrors create a duplicate of the map boss in the affected map. Getting both map bosses will unlock the new Atlas mechanic, the Trial of Madness. After triggering the Trial of Madness, fog will spread from a map of your choosing on the Atlas, including a locked simulacrum. While inside the fog, the entire map is delirious, starting at 10%. Killing rare monsters and map bosses increases the deliriousness of all maps in the fog. On reaching 100% of the simulacrum will become available. Deliriousness can continue to increase up to 200%. It sounds crazy, but since they're lowering the damage, we'll see how crazy it'll be. Rare and unique monsters in Delirious maps have a set of new Delirious modifiers giving them strange new abilities. Map bosses of Delirious maps can additionally drop a new set of 3 potent emotions that can be used to craft new powerful modifiers and jewels that are not available in the normal jewel mod pool. These emotions can also be used to instill a set of 16 new passive tree notables that are not normally available on the Atlas passive tree. Simulacrum has been updated and is now a 7-wave encounter, thank fuck. Completing a simulacrum will now give you a key to face the new Delirium Pinnacle boss. There is a new set of 10 ancient emotions that can drop if unlocked by the Atlas tree, which can be used to craft time-lost jewels. Oh, that's pretty cool. There are also 3 ancient potent emotions that can be used to craft new powerful modifiers on time-lost jewels that are not normally available in the mod pool.
Made and locked in.
Good stuff. Thanks so much, Slow Steve, for the sub, man. Some non-amulet Delirium uniques now drop with a Raven Touch modifier, allowing them to be instilled. Non-amulet Delirium uniques can be instilled. What the fuck? What the fuck? Alright, let's go to the bitch. New bitch storyline. Travel to the monastery of the bitches. Sorry, monastery of the keepers. The hallowed hall of the keepers of the flame, and discover the Genesis tree stolen from the enemy and gifted to the keepers by the dreamer himself. For more information, see, that is literally just that splash. Okay, splash image. There's a new hub area, the monastery of the keepers, to the south of your starting location in the Atlas. Maps around this location all contains breach encounters. Completing these maps gives you points for the Atlas breach Atlas tree. The breach Atlas Passage tree have been completely revamped with many new nodes, and existing nodes changed. Starting breach now shows a progress bar that indicates how long you have until the breach will close, as well as how much time killing monsters extending the life of the breach. Reaching 100% of the bar will begin a new mechanic, a stabilized breach. A stabilized breach will spawn new challenges at its starting point. This is exactly like how it works in PoE1. Add a new boss to stabilize breach of rune, martial assessed. Same thing as PoE1. Add a new crafting system, the Genesis tree. The Genesis tree allows consuming of womb gifts and hive blood to create rings, amulets, belts, and currency. Nodes on the Genesis tree can be allocated to affect what items will be crafted. New nodes are unlocked by using womb gift. 6 new ring base types that are exclusive to Genesis tree crafting. 4 new amulet bases. 4 new belt bases. And a set of caster and minion mods that can be crafted onto rings and belts using the Genesis tree. I thought it was only rings. Nice. Catalysts can no longer drop from monsters. These are now solely obtainable from the Genesis tree. And then you said of 12. You know, I really like that they're doing this, because it means that if you want to farm a certain type of things from the game that the game offers, it will now be from that specific mechanic. And I'm personally a big fan of that. Like, I really like how they're like navigating these things. Like, if you want to farm XYZ, you go to that specific mechanic that does it, rather than everything being diluted and everything drops everything. It said bells in the announcement. I must have missed that. That's my bad then. Add a new set of 12 catalysts that can add new quality modifiers to jewels. Killing monsters in Breach now drops high blood and womb gifts in and Breachstone splinters. Breachstone splinters turn into a special womb gift when fully stacked. This can be turned in at the Genesis tree to create a Breachstone. New Breach. Thank you, legitimate 33 for the pre-7 tier 1 even. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, sir. New breach domains now spawn on the Atlas. Using a breach stone will reveal the map inside the domain, allowing you to enter them. So now new breach domains spawn on the Atlas, and using a breach stone will reveal the maps inside the domain. Okay, so we'll have to find these domains and pop our breach stones to gain access to them. Maps inside the breach domain contains new encounters, breach hives, sky hives, and sky fortresses. The breach hives have a series of walls that can be burned by walking through them. Each wall destroyed will increase the number of monsters that, in the encounter, which can be started in the center. Sky hives are a new area in which the breach lords have constructed fortresses that you will need to assail. Sky hives contain challenging multi-wave encounter in which you will need to defend Aelith while she closes the domain. Aelith will gain a series of new abilities that can be triggered during the encounter of various effects. And then fortresses are the new area with a new pair of bosses, Tool and Ash. Defeating Tool and Ash will give you a key access existing Breach Pinnacle boss. I'm very excited for Breach. Ritual, a new storyline. Our life lingers as a restless spirit. Not sure if I pronounced that right. Our life. I think that's how you pronounce it. Bound to the wildwood and searching for one who might answer her call. It's a chick, sorry. The king in the mist has claimed her flesh, leaving her soul adrift. Untethered and unable to pass beyond, she believes that only by reclaiming what was taken can she be made whole once more. So she has daddy issues. Got it. There are a new hub area, Caer Tarth, to the west. Caer Tarth. Is this where Brienne of Tarth is from? Anyways, to the west of your starting location in the Atlas, the maps around this location all contain ritual encounters. Completing these maps gives you the points to the Atlas ritual Atlas tree. Got it. Yes, it is. I fucking knew it. Wait, our wife? Is that an Irish name? It's pronounced Aoife. What? Our wife is pronounced Aoife. There's no A at the end. Where the fuck do you get Aoife from? It's just Gaelic. That's pretty cool. Aoife sounds pretty cool. I'll try to remember that. The druid says her name. Oh, Aoife. Okay, we'll learn when we play. My wife. For fuck's sake. My wife. Oh, fuck's sake. I gotta stop reading chats. The Ritual Atlas Passage has been completely revamped with many new nodes and existing nodes changed. After completing a Ritual Atlas... After completing your ritual... I'd fuck this. But if you're having issues, the bill's doing so much damage. Give me a second. Okay. After completing a ritual altar encounter in a map, Locust will point the way to the next altar. I fucking love this change. This happens in the campaign as well. All items in the endgame ritual reward screen are now either uniques or omens. I absolutely love this shit as well. Any tribute not spent on rewards can now be sacrificed to gain an audience with the king. I love this change as well. Killing the king in the mist now drops a new key, the head of the king. This key can be used in Kertar to begin the Rite of the Nameless. The Rite of the Nameless is a new Atlas mechanic in which you choose a series of 5 maps to complete a single continuous ritual. The monsters from each ritual, including the map boss, will reappear in each map in the sequence, making for a very challenging encounter. The unique boss from each map will only appear in the final ritual of each map. While choosing maps for the Rite of the Nameless, each map after the first will contain extra modifiers which affect the difficulty and reward of the ritual during the rite. I think the ritual is going to be such a cool mechanic, dude. Each map in the Rite of the Nameless award one element of the key used to access Ritual Pinnacle boss. Add a new boss, the Queen in the Mist, available after allocating a specific node on the Atlas tree. So it is true, behind every great man is a much even greater woman. This boss can drop 3 now corrupted idols. Wraithorn rituals are now prevented from ever showing deferred items, to ensure items are not lost in returning to this area on a higher level character. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. Fate of the Vaal moving to core. Fate of the Vaal have been added to the core game. First encounter a series of 6 ancient bacon. In Act 3, energize them to obtain energized crystals and open the portal to the Vaal ruin. You'll encounter a second set of 6 ancient beacon in the interludes. There is now an Atlas passage tree for the Fate of the Vaal League mechanic. A Sirius temple can now be found on the Atlas to the northeast of your starting location in the city of Liraval. Maps inside the city of Liraval always have energized crystals and grant points for the Fate of the Vaal Atlas passage tree. There are now also new temple precursor tablets that will guarantee Vaal beacons in your map if you want to focus on this league. It is no longer possible to prevent the room being deleted from the temple. Room that must be deleted but have other connections will instead turn into a simple path room. This prevents the snake strategy. Number of rooms in the temple when first starting has increased to allow getting into a series more quickly. Rooms can now be upgraded to tier 4 instead of tier 3 after unlocking this ability on the temple Atlas tree. This allows more specialization into particular room types and encouraging a more interesting temple layouts. Reward rooms granted from the console after defeating the architect have been significantly improved, with more varieties to unlock in addition to upgrading the rewards for all existing ones. Restricted rooms in a series temple that are accessible will always destabilize upon exiting the temple. Okay. Series Temple Medallion now have their drop rate scaled with the number of paths in the temple in addition to other rooms, previously only other rooms. Room-based medallions can no longer be used inside of an active temple. Room-based medallions can now display upgrade information when hovered. Medallions now output descriptive error messages when they cannot be placed. Default maximum number of energized crystals you can store has been increased to 60, and the maximum number of medallions has been increased to 6. The medallions that increase the number of stored energized crystals or medallions are no longer necessary because we have the cap. Monster level of the temple now factors in the level of the areas where the crystals used to open it were obtained. Could have been a thing ages ago, but yeah, that's good. Corruption Chamber Temple bonuses have been updated to add monster modifier chance instead of additional monster modifiers. Portals created in the Temple of Atziri now create a corresponding portal in the parent Vaal ruins for ease of access. Vaal Beacon now show a grayed out icon on the minimap when completed. There are now 4 types of infusers. Existing Vaal infusers and now Vaal armor infuser, which can be applied to armor, blacksmith for weapon or martial weapons, and arcanist ones for wands, saves, and scepters, and catalyzing infusers can be applied to jewelries. All infusers can only be used on items that are at or above 20% quality. Fate of the Vaal currency items now have a maximum stack of 5k when stored in the wildcard slots in the currency stash tabs. Some of the possible outcomes from applying to Vaal cultivation orbs to unique items have been updated. The series rule unique staff can now roll 10 to 20 increased life cost efficiency instead of 20 to 40. A series Splendor unique armor body can roll 66 to 100 max energy shield instead of 100 to 200. There's your ES nerf. The Covenant unique body armor can roll 10 to 25 life cost efficiency instead of 25 to 50. Hate Forge unique gloves can roll 16 to 30 max rage if you've used a skill that requires glory in the past 20 seconds. Previously it was 8 to 12 per skill that requires glory use in the past 6 seconds, up to 5 times. Grasp with the Globe unique focus can roll 8 to 15 life cost efficiency, previously 12 to 20. Shackles of the Wretched unique gloves can no longer roll elemental ailments other than freeze you inflict that reflected to you, instead now being able to roll 10 to 15% increased damage per curse on you. Huh. Okay. The Vertex unique helmet can no longer roll 2 to 4 plus of all skill gems, instead now being able to roll 3 to 5 level of all curse skill gems. Oh shit, okay. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Abyss. There are now large abyss cracks on the Atlas. Completing an Atlas Abyss will close them, and they will give you an abyssal depth with a boss fight. The Abyss Atlas tree have been revamped with many new nodes and changes to the existing nodes. Coolabac's invitation is now always allocated to the map owner. Abyss Omens no longer drop on areas below 65. Modifiers to the number of chests found apply to chests found in Abyss. There is also applied to the chance to find an abyssal depth, so the chance to find abyssal depth does not decrease with more chests in the area. Adjusted the damage of the meteoric demise abyss monster modifier. Lithomantic runes from the lithomantic rune abyss monster modifiers are now active after a longer delay. Expedition. Even halfway. Holy fuck, dude. Guys, strap the fuck in, boys. Strap in. Expedition League has been temporarily disabled on Standard League due to the integration with the Runes of Aldur. This will be reintegrated into Standard after Runes of Aldur is over. Recombinator has been disabled. The Omen of Recombination has been removed. Existing Omens of Recombination will be deleted upon logging in. The Forgotten by Time Expedition Precursor tablets have been temporarily disabled from dropping. Expedition Explosives now waits to explode until most of the monsters unearthed by the previous explosive have been killed. Interesting change. Huh. You can now use currency from your stash to purchase items from Expedition vendors. This is interesting. Why would they do this? Anyways, other endgame changes. With the introduction of the new endgame storyline, the Atlas has been reset. Your existing tablets and waystones will continue to work, so you can continue your progression as normal, but in order to gain points for the Atlas tree, you will need to do the Origins of Divinity storyline. Added support for searching to the endgame Atlas map, thank you. You now zoom out slightly further on the Atlas screen, thank you. There are now 2 versions of each pinnacle boss, the quest version of the infinite farm version. As such, primary, secondary, and tertiary calamity fragments can no longer be obtained. Tablets of the same type can now be used together to increase the amount of lean content that is spawned. The specifics of this are different for each content type. In some cases, adding multiple tablets will increase the size of a single encounter, while in other cases, it will increase the number of encounters spawned. Each empty tablet slot now contributes to the number of random non-tablet spawn league content in the area. This means that if tablet slots are all full, you will only see the league content from the tablets you're using. The intent of this change is to make sure that you do not need to complete the Atlas tree for leagues you do not intend to run. Waystones must now be identified in order to activate them in a map device. You can now use Orb of Chance on tablets. Some items and contents that require you to specialize in them through Atlas passive skills, including exceptional items. Some items and content now require you to specialize in them through the Atlas passive skills, including exceptional items, fracturing orbs, basic and overseer precursor tablets. Interesting. Tablets can no longer be used on maps that cannot have extra content, such as unique maps. League-specific tablets no longer drop for non-map areas, such as simulacrum, abyssal depths, or twisted domain. Lower the base chance for essence as Merry Spirits, Shrines, Strongboxes, Summoning Circles, Rogue Exiles appearing in maps, somewhat due to the much larger increase now available on the Atlas tree. Atlas passive that reference maps with powerful map bosses now work with overseer precursor tablets and other sources of powerful bosses. Just the values of general precursor tablet modifiers to be similar to the same type of bonuses granted by the Waystone modifiers also reduce the roll variance of these modifiers. The following modifiers can no longer roll on Waystones. I don't know these by heart, so there's no point in reading that. Whether a map modifier is a suffix or prefix have been adjusted so that generally prefixes are modifiers that affect the monster output towards the player, and suffixes are modifiers that affect the player or monster defenses. The following suffix modifiers are now prefixes. I don't know these by heart either. I know some of them. Same thing here. The overpowering Waystone modifier no longer causes monsters to have increased freeze, build-up shock chance, or inflict increased flammability magnitude. It now causes monsters to have increased elemental ailment application. Okay. They're just homogenizing it. Waystone modifier bonus have been updated. They now provide more monster effectiveness, pack size, item rarity, monster rarity, or Waystone drop chance depending on the modifier. These modifiers are multiplicative with other sources, such as those found on the Atlas passive tree. Modifiers to pack size now also provide a chance for an additional rare monster to appear in rare monster packs. Interesting. Monster rarity is a new stat available that affects chance of magic and rare monsters and additional modifiers on rare monsters. Map modifiers that included sources of increased numbers of rare monsters or increased number of magic monsters have been updated to only display the number of the header of the map, not also be displayed amongst the explicit modifiers. This is a functional change. Okay. Half the bonus quantity of item dropped and experience gain provided by increased monster effectiveness, such as from its series Temple. Functionality of the Omen of Chaotic Rarity, Omen of Chaotic Quantity, and Omen of Chaotic Monsters have been inverted. Instead of guaranteeing the new modifiers of their new type, or of their type, they instead prevent the modifiers from being of their type. Ooh. Ooh. So you'll have to use double omens for it. Okay. Add the new Omen of Chaotic Effectiveness, which, while this item is active in your inventory, your next chaos will replace all modifiers and Waystone with modifiers that do not grant monster effectiveness. So you want to triple down on it if you want only monster effectiveness. Interesting decision to do that. Up to 3 of the above omens may be used simultaneously. Okay, there you go. Half the damage as extra buffs granted from the following shrines: Freezing, Gloom, Meteoric, and Tempest. I guess this is because we're giving it to the boss now. Or can, rather. Completion of fixed location in the Atlas is now shared with party members. With the addition of more varied content on the Atlas map, the size of content indicators have been increased by 50%. Waystones have received new 2D art. Amazing. Campaign replayability. Interesting. To improve how long it takes for experienced players to replay through the game in each new league, we've added new elements to multiple campaign areas that tell you where to go. So it's just a hint. Some areas throughout the game that have been shortened. Remove the second Dreadnought area, the Dreadnought Vanguard. The Act 2 boss is now in the Dreadnought. area order in Act 3 has been somewhat rearranged in order to make progression smoother. The waterway levers have been turned into a pressure pad, so you simply need to walk over. Ooh, that's good for the speedrunners. And the final part of the level has the water pre-drained. Monster density in the second half of the campaign has been reduced, especially in the introduced, now allowing getting through these areas more quickly. Okay, so these changes are exactly what we've seen. So there's nothing new there. That's quite interesting. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Let's see. Player changes. Bleed damage on players is no longer increased while the player is moving. This change does not affect the bleeds players applied to monsters. Okay. Your maximum runic ward is now added to your starting honor when beginning a trial of the Secondless. Okay. The defenses keyword is no longer in use. Existing uses of the word defenses now explicitly refers to armor, evasion, and energy. Oh, okay. To make it more clear that these modifiers do not apply to runic ward, resistances, block, or other forms of protection. It's just a description change. Okay. Only a single leech instance per resource, life, mana, or energy shield can apply it at a time. When multiple leech instances are active, only the one with the highest recovery rate will recover you until it expires, after which the next highest recovery rate instance will apply. There is now a limit on the maximum amount per damage a hit can be considered to deal for leech. Hits that deal less than 40,000 total damage are unaffected, but if a hit deal more than 40,000 total damage, it is treated as dealing only 40,000 damage for purpose of leech calculation. The values of each damage type in the hit are scaled down evenly to reach this limit. This means that extremely high damage hits stop improving leech past a certain point, but increasing your leech percentage will always increase the amount of the resource you're gaining. How dead will the Blood Mage be with these changes? Out of curiosity. The formula for chance to deflect has been adjusted to provide a better scaling with investments into deflection rating, with a cap of 95% chance to deflect. I mean, it's when they first introduced deflect, it was like your fifth version of spell suppression. I think evasion is going to be really fucking good. You know, there was a conversation about this from the Chinese realms. They were saying that evasion was like the best shit ever on the Chinese servers, when everyone else in the world was saying that energy shield was the strongest. When we said ES was the best, the Chinese players said that evasion was the best. And now they're giga buffing evasion, well, deflection at least. New chance to deflect is 150 times 1 minus attacker's accuracy rating divided by attacker's accuracy rating plus 0.12 multiplied with defender's deflection rating. That so we get a more linear path with it that gets rewarded at higher investments. Okay. Parry, shield, block, and resting shield no longer delay heavy stun buildup from decaying longer than expected. Melee attacks can now only apply splash damage. Melee attacks can now only apply splash damage once per damaging area. Some attacks create multiple damaging areas during use. For example, Whirling Assault creates multiple damage areas around you as you move. When minions are removed due to resource changing, such as weapon swapping, younger/newer minions are now prioritized for removal over older minions to avoid wasting minion cooldown abilities unnecessarily. They basically buffed weapon swapping, but we don't really use weapon swapping for this. I mean, basically they pseudo buffed it, but this is not how we use weapon swapping. What they're talking about here, let me paint up an example. So let's pretend you have a minion build and you have a weapon swap where you are pouncing. So you pounce an enemy to predator mark them with your pounce ability, and then you weapon swap back. In that scenario, you would very likely still have as many minions as you can on the weapon swap where you have the talisman. What this would do is that it would prioritize minions that, have their cooldowns being used are going away first. before you take the other ones. And then you swap back, they're coming back again. So it has no impact on the weapon swap convocation where you teleport your minions to you. It has no impact on that. So far in the patch notes, you're still able to do that, which means that unless they touch Infernal Legion in this patch notes, we're going to play Infernal Legion or we play the chunk minions. We're going to do that after the Spirit Walker. That's what this is telling me. Minions affected by Last Gasp support or Tekrar's Revenge lineage support gem and totems affected by the unnamed Heartwood Oracle notable passive skill no longer die during the effect from taking further damage exceeding their maximum life. So they buffed the minion instability weapon swapping playstyle as well with this. So what this means is that what Last Gasp did, you say you have a minion with 1000 HP. When that minion died, Last Gasp would keep that minion alive for a few seconds. And the weapon swap shenanigan is that when that minion was dead, you could just weapon swap and it would come back with full HP. But this is the thing is, in the current state of the game, if the minion died and then took another 1000 damage, it would just die because it would exceed their max HP again. What this change is doing is making that not happen. They are 100% immortal during that time frame with this change. So they just straight up buffed it.
I don't like it.
That's interesting.
Shit.
Stats worded as when you collect a remnant no longer give you the benefits of these stats when an ally shares the effect of a remnant with you. Huh. Okay. Interesting. Up to the name of the buff the Trinity grants to Affinity, as Resonance is the name of a Keystone passive skill. This is purely descriptive description change. Okay. Archon buffs no longer inherently lost when you attack. This is how property. This is now property of Elemental Archon specifically. So I was a little surprised with these things with the weapon swap stuff, but okay. New content and features. Introduced the new martial artist ascendancy class for the monk. After decades of training, the martial artist has now become a master of illusions, tricking people to believing it's going to be better than minions, which is obviously a lie. Oh, that's not what they wrote. Hold on. It said, empowered by the rune socketed into his body, the class creates powerful illusions, summons illusory bells to aid him, and excels at using his hands as weapons. All right, my bad. I misread there for a little bit. Introduced a new Pokemon Master Ascendancy class for the Huntress. Bound to the wilds, this class calls upon Pokeball spirits to answer her will, granting different abilities aligning with a stag, owl, or bear. Through their guidance, the Pokemon Master may subdue even the most formidable beast, binding them in the spirit, or call forth a spectral companion to fight besides her as she tries to catch them all. Okay. New lineage supports. I have no fucking idea. This sounds great. Oh, Barrack Scripts is coming into the game. Barrack's Pass, Bruised Lead Sprinkler, Cat of Nine Tails. So that's the Captain America shield. Periphery. Effigy. Split personality coming into the game? What the fuck? Interesting. Wait, Lore Weave? Yeah, Lore Weave's there, dude. So, did you guys remember how they said that we were feeding the Genesis tree with rings? I bet you right now that's how you make Lore Weave. Rings on the tree will spit out a Lore Weave. Let's see. Added 8 new idols that come exclusively from monster possessed by Asmerian spirits. That's pretty dope. And let's see. Added new minion splat. Oh, boys, here we go. Added a new minion splash and minion splash 2 strength support gems. These support skills which create minions which strike, causing those minion strikes to have melee splash. I like that it's specifically to minions, though. Minion Splash and Minion Splash 2 Absolutely loving it. The only thing missing right now is like the weapon swap shenanigans attended to, and I need Infernal Legion to be nerfed to the goddamn ground. Like, that's my hopes right now. Okay, that is actually dope, dude. So we saw footage of this, but it looked like they were kind of like piercing with their strikes somehow. But either way, like melee splash, this opens up the possibility for us to look at melee minions to a much wider degree for actually doing good clearing approach. It also does incentivize us to have weapon gem swap for bossing. We'll see how it goes. The fragment stash tab is now available for use in Path of Exile 2. It can hold your fragments, including breach, splinters, simulacrums, audience with the king, inscribed ultimatums, and barriers, as well as tablets. If you previously purchased one in Path of Exile, it will automatically be made available to you once 0.5 patch is deployed. For those without a fragment stash tab, you'll be able to find this in the stash tab section of the microtransaction store after 0.5 goes live. Let me expand the Discord. What is this? Okay. Added support for build guides. Community creators who write build guides, that's me, can create .build files for players to download. Absolutely fantastic. When selected in the game client, these will show you everything you need to know for that build, including passive skills to allocate, which ascendancy passive skills to take, skill gems to equip, as well as recommendations for support gems. Added the ability to quickly search the trade market with an item you have. Shift Alt clicking on an item will populate the filters for searching the trade market, so you can see the current prices for rare items. You can enable and disable each modifier to easily determine the effect of each one has on an item price. So this is basically price checking in game, no longer requiring third-party tools. I fucking love this. I've talked about this before. There's so many third-party sites and tools we have to use, quote unquote, have to use to play the game as effectively as possible. And I've been saying this for years. The less I have to do that is outside the game to play the game, the happier I will be. In party play, you can now quickly revive any fallen party members after defeating the boss. You can now skip dialogue sequence with the NPCs by pressing escape. Added a reforging bench to the entrance of the Trial of Secamus. Okay, which is continue to incrementally improve sound effect, artifacts, and environments. Okay, Ascendancy changes. Acolyte of Chonk, or Chalupa, or also known as Chonk. The Into the Breach skill granted by the Walking Dream notable passive skill now grants 20% leech to your maximum life, and when you collect a red flame of Chiula, previously 15%, and leech 20% to your max mana when you collect a blue flame of Chiula, previously 15%. The wording of the Into the Breach skill has also been updated to clarify behavior ranges related to Flames of Chiula. Into the Breach now applies modifiers of Remnant pickup range to the range. Let me read this again. Into the Breach now applies modifiers to Remnant pickup range to the range at which Flames of Chiula can be seen. This is purely visual. Okay, so basically no changes for what we plan to do with the chunk originally, so this seems fine. Blood Mage. The Vitality Siphon is now blah, 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 blah. Blood Mage is now dead. Jesus, that's kind of wild. Vitality Siphon notable passive skill now grants 20% spell damage, leeches life, previously 10%. I don't know if Blood Mage survives this. Not gonna lie. Chronomancer. The Rapid River notable passive skill has been removed. Its position has been taken by Now and Again. The Now and Again notable passive skill has been reworked. It now grants cascadable spells have 20% chance to echo, and repeatable spells have a 20% chance to repeat. The Unbound Encore notable passive skill has been taken. Let me try that one more time. That passive skill has taken the previous position of Now and Again. I don't know these by heart. Nobody played this class. The Ultimate Commander notable passive skill now requires Unbound Encore. Add a new Faced Form notable passive skill, Preceding Footprints in the Sand. Faced Form grants 30% less damage, and 4 seconds after being damaged by an enemy hit, take damage equal to 30% of that hit's damage. Which is a pretty massive defensive scaling, especially versus dots, because the dots don't hit, so you don't take the extra damage, you just straight up take 30% less damage versus damage over time effects. It's pretty cool, actually, especially for hardcore. The Temporal Rift skill granted by the Footprints in the Sand notable passive skill has been updated. It now casts a cast time of 0.1 second instead of 0.5, and now also removes delayed damage from the Faced Form. Pretty cool. Inevitable Agony skill granted by the Inevitable Try that again. The inevitable agony skill granted by the inevitability notable passive skill has been reworked. It is no longer a curse and has a 2-second cooldown. Debuff is now a life loss effect instead of secondary hit damage. Debuff amount is now displayed on static health bars. The debuff also now instantly culls enemies when total life loss reaches culling strike thresholds. Now grants debuff target loses a life equal to 25% of hit damage dealt to them, while debuff, previously 50%. Enemy curse effectiveness no longer applies to this skill, meaning unique enemies have the same effectiveness as previously, while other enemies have less. Debuff duration is now 12 seconds, previously 6 to 8.6 seconds. Quality now grants up to 0.5 meters to initial cast radius. Previously, Curse Zone erupts after 0 to 10% reduced delay. The skill has been also received new visual effects. I actually think this is really cool. The sense of time buff granted by the Quicksand Hourglass notable passive skill now grants 1 to 60% increased skill speed, previously cast speed, and has been also new visual effects. I like that skill speed. I like that. I think the Chronomancer might see some actual fucking attention this time, like the big time. Gemlin Legionnaire, the crystalline potential notable passive skill has been removed. Added a new notable passive skill, Essence of Virtue. This grants the Virtuous Barrier skill, which, while active, conjures a glittering barrier that accumulates protective gemstone motes of each attribute type over time, but loses a random mote when you are hit. But that didn't tell us much, but the video of this showed that more in detail, right? The Advanced Thaumaturgy notable passive skill no longer grants the Thaumaturgical Dynamism skill. It instead now grants gem quality, grants socket the skills have an additional effect. All gem in the game now have an additional quality stat that can be seen while holding Alt on the gem after picking it. That's notable. So this is probably something we're going to have access to when we see the data mine files, which will happen when we get the torrent file, which we will be able to download about 24 hours before the launch. So about 22 hours before launch, we'll have that file downloaded and data mined and available over at PoE2DB. And that should give you some extra information about that. From the minion perspective, and a lot of people asking me about that. Honestly, I'm just expecting movement speed, life, or damage. I don't think we'll see anything interesting from minions there, since the class itself is so far away from where the minion nodes are on the tree. So if this is the case, play maybe, but the quality stuff has to be like the ascendancy class itself and the quality additions needs to be so freaking good for these skills for us to utilize this as a minion gameplay. I don't think that's going to be the case, but they did showcase some really cool things for Fireball, for example. So maybe, right? Maybe. Latex, I'm sorry, I don't speak that language. I can't read that, so do keep it English in the channel, please. That goes for everybody. Pathfinder, the overwhelming toxicity notable passive skill now grants 50% less poison duration instead of 35%. Running Assault notable passive skill now grants 30% less movement speed penalty from using skills while moving instead of 50. Witch Hunter, Obsessive Rituals now grants 50% less armor and evasion rating instead of 35% less. How far have we gotten? Okay. I need a drink. Anyways, are you guys liking the patch notes so far? Passive tree changes. Let's see. Added 19 new companion-themed passive skills to the passive tree. So that's what, 5 or 6, maybe more clusters. Added 9 new life recoup speed passes of the passive tree. We saw that in the video. Added a new Archon of Undeath cluster to the Witch Sorcerer Star area of the passive tree. The Ancestral Bond Keystone passive skill now causes placing totems to have no cost and not require consuming charges to place. It still causes totems to reserve 75 spirit each and now doubles the totem limit instead of removing it completely. The Trusted Kinship Keystone passive skill now grants 30% more reservation efficiency of companion skills and 20% less reservation efficiency of non-companion skills. It no longer provides you have 30% less defense or companions and have +1 to each defense for every 2 of that defense you have. You 30% less defense or wait, it no longer provides this or companions. So it no longer has that. So it's just a pure companion approach with Trusted Kinship. Now, where the fuck is Trusted Kinship? It's down here. There it is. That note is being changed entirely. I kind of dig it. The better RMR for companion skills. And then less RMR for non-companions. That is a big improvement for it, yeah. The Volpat Keystone passive skill now grants 50% more amount of life leached. 67. 1% less than 68% less life leech speed. Cannot recover life other than from leech, and life leech effects are not removed when unreserved. Don't start, chat. Don't fucking start. Fuck me. Cannot recover life other than from leech, and life leech effects are not. You are I can see chat rolling in my left eye. Like I can see it at the corner of my eye how the chat is being spammed. Okay? Chill. It's not helping. Fuck you, YouTube chat. I see you too.
I don't like it. It's
Where was
shit.
I? Cannot recover life other than from leech, and life leech effects are not removed from unreserved life is filled. When unreserved life is filled. It no longer provides life leech as instant or cannot use life flasks. You guys have some absolute brain rot issues.
Are you new to PoE?
The reformed barrier cluster has been removed. The warring fetish cluster has moved locations. It can no longer connect to the dual sockets.
Look at how emotional.
The storm charged and breaking point cluster no longer connects to dual sockets. The adamant recovery notable. Daniel Law, thanks so much for the 1-year sub, man. Appreciate that, dude. The adamant recovery notable passive skill has been replaced by Fortified Aegis, which grants 100% increased armor, evasion, and energy shield from equipped shield. Adamant recovery. Isn't that literally up in the top left corner? Like up here? Yeah, there it is. It's inside here. It's in the Aegis cluster. Arcane Mixture notable passive skill now grants 10% increased cast speed if you've used a mana flask recently instead of 25% increased energy shield recharge rate. Bastion and Forest notable passive skill is 10% faster start of energy shield recharge instead of 15. Casting kit. They're actually nerfing energy shield a little bit here. The Casting Cascade notable passive skill now grants 6% cast speed for each different spell you've cast in the last 8 seconds instead of 4 seconds. The Chakra of Breathing notable passive skill now grants 20% faster start of energy shield recharge instead of 1% energy shield recharge rate per 4 dexterity. Motherfuckers, I wanted to do ES evasion. The Commanding Rage notable passive skill now grants 2% increase in minion attack speed per. What? They did what? What the fuck? The Commanding Rage notable passive skill now grants 2% minion attack speed per 5 rage instead of 1 per rage. They're actually nerfing it. My boy. I feel like I'm Jasperus here. My boy. Not massive. Nah, it's pretty fucking massive. What the fuck? What's wrong with it? I feel like as soon as we made the cocaine ant build, they're like, no, we can't have people running around in the community saying that a build is cocaine something. So they nerfed the fuck out of it. Guess what we did? We said, fuck this. Let's do raging cocaine wasps. And now they're like, fuck you, GHAZZY. Can't have that either. I mean, it's not a massive nerf. It's not super, super big, but it is noticeable. It's very noticeable. That's annoying. Convalescence notable passive skill now grants 20%. Thanks so much, Will of a Chroma, for the Prime sub. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you. The Convalescence notable passive skill now grants 20% fat. Jesus Christ. All the subs are throwing me off. Okay. Oof. The Convalescence notable passive skill now grants 20% faster start of energy shield recharge instead of 40, and 10% reduced energy shield recharge rate instead of 15. They are cracking down on energy shield a little bit. Okay. Wasp now has splash. Yeah, okay, that's fair, but we use the IL. We were using Infernal Legion to use them for clearing. Granted, I haven't seen Infernal Legion mentioned yet, which is terrifying. We're on the passive tree changes, though. Fuck, man, I get there's too many subs. Scal the Dog, thank you so much for 6 months. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. I do appreciate the support. You know, I appreciate it. I'm just getting a little distracted when you guys are spamming me. All right, let's see. The core of the Guardian notable passive skill now grants 30% increase in block chance and 20% reduced maximum energy shield. Previously, 100% increased armor evasion energy shield from equipped shield. I like that. Covering War notable passive skill now grants 25. Sorry, gain 25 flat energy shield when you block. Previously 20. 12% increased block chance. It no longer grants 25% increase in energy shield recharge rates. Thank you, Mountain, for the Prime sub. I appreciate it. Where was I? The FFX, thanks so much for the gift of sub. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Am I good to go? The Craving Slaughter notable passive skill now provides plus 15 maximum rage if you've used a skill that requires glory in the past 20 seconds. Previously 8 plus per skill that requires glory used in the past 6 seconds up to 5 times. So similar change to what we saw earlier. Jesus. Sekiro gifting 50 subs to the channel. Okay, dude. Okay, man. 50 subs. That's a lot. That's a lot, Sekiro. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, let's move on. Thank you, man. The critical overload notable passes. Get it out of your system, boys. I appreciate the support. If you want to sub now. Like, get it out of your system. Just spam it up. If you want to throw money at this fucking ugly bug, go for it. Thank you, boys. Appreciate it. Turn it with a promise wall. K86 for 5 gifts. Thank you. I'm just going to drink my beer.
At 8 a.m. Shoot.
Jesus Christ. I appreciate the support, though. I really do. Thank you. Thank you so much.
If you're having issues, since the bill's doing so much damage.
Bathroom break now. Okay, let's try it. Let's try again. The critical overload notable passive skill now provide.
Alan!
Now provides 15% increase.
We patch notes.
Now.
D!
You can't make this shit up. Thank you guys for the support. I really do appreciate it. Like, I can't do this without you guys. There's no way. There's just no way, dude. The critical overload notable passive skill now provides 15% increased critical spell damage bonus instead of 15% increased spell damage if you've dealt a critical hit recently. Now, the Cunning Fox notable passive skill has been replaced with a Quick Fox, which grants 20% increased deflection rating while moving. Small all attribute passive prior to the notable now. Totally worth 25 bucks. Oh, for fuck's sake. I appreciate support, guys, very much. Thank you. Like, I can't do this without you guys, so thank you very much. Thank you. I'm gonna read that again because I completely get distracted. The Cunning Fox notable passive skill has been replaced with the Quick Fox.
like it. It's
This is now going to grant 20% increased deflection rating whilst moving. The small all attribute passive prior to the notable now grants increased evasion rating whilst moving. I don't like this because it's like you have to move to benefit from it. I'm not a big fan of that at all. The Deadly Force notable passive skill now provides 15% critical strike chance instead of 10, 15 increased damage if you've dealt a crit hit in the past 8 seconds instead of 25%. Okay. Surely everyone on the Twitch stream is now a subscriber. Surely everyone is a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, type me. I want to see how many non-subs we have left. Okay. I take it back. There's quite a few people that are still not subscribed on Twitch. Okay, I got it. Okay, got it. Let me see what YouTube chat has to say. Okay, Lewis. Okay, dude. Hey, no one who has that much is that stupid. But I appreciate the thought. All right. We're gonna move on. Where was I? I did read that. Okay. So, thank you for the support, guys. The Dependable War notable passive skill now grants plus 8% chaos res and 12% faster start of energy shield recharge, previously 25. They're really cracking down on energy shield recharge starts, dude. By a lot. The Devoted Protector notable passive skill now grants 10% faster start of energy recharge instead of 15. The Echo, for fuck's sake. One at a time, guys. Oh my god. The Echoing Pulse notable passive skill now grants echoed spells have 25% increased area of effect. No longer grants the final repeat of spells as 30% increased area effect, which did not function. Didn't function, didn't even know that. Interesting. The Effervescent notable passive skill now grants 4% increased
gifted a tier 1 sub to Zankaso.
What the fuck are you yapping for? Why didn't you say anything when the other guys gifted something? The Effervescent notable passive skill now grants 4% increased cast speed for each different spell you cast in the last 8 seconds instead of 4. I do like those, that they're doubling the duration of that. The Energizing Archon notable passive skill now grants 30% increased Archon duration instead of 40% increased energy shield recharge rate while affected by the Archon buff. Dude, they're actually cracking down on energy shield more than I ever thought they would. What the fuck? The Energizing Deflection notable passive skill now grants 12% faster start of energy shield recharge instead of 30% increase energy shield recharge rates. Dude, ES is dying. We need to call 911. Get the ambulance over.
Thank you, Kappa.
Thank you, said Reason. Thank you. You know, it's weird being annoyed and getting interrupted and getting thrown off the fucking track here when I'm trying to read the patch notes. Because on one hand, I can't do this full time without you guys supporting the stream the way you are. And on the other hand, fuck you guys. Okay, where was I? The Essence Infusion notable passive skill now grants 12% faster start of energy shield recharge and 12 plus intelligence, previously plus 10. It no longer grants 40% increase in your shield recharge rates. But which ascendancy node is it that reduces energy shield recharge? It's Disciple of Arashta, right? Is Disciple gonna be like the only playable energy shield based character, or what are they doing? The fast metabolism notable passive skill now grants 40% increased damage while leeching life. Previously, life leech effects are not removed when unreserved life is filled. I mean, that's a good change. Yeah, the Chrono too. The Fortifying Blood notable passive skill now grants 15% increased amount of life leech, previously 20. The glowing notable passive skill no longer grants 40% increased physical damage. Instead, it now grants 3% increased maximum life. There's a life node! It gets life and 20% increased amount of life leech. Previously, it was 33% reduced life and 30% increased maximum life leech. Now it gives increased life. Tarn must be super fucking thrilled over this. Bro! Wait, I'm gonna screenshot this. Hold on. Sending that to Karn right now. You got buffed, mister. He got buffed, baby! All right. The Immortal Infamy notable passive skill now grants 6% increased life recovery rate instead of 10% increased energy shield recharge rate. ES is dying! Holy fuck! The lifelong friend and nurturing guardian notable passive skills have swapped positions. Okay. The Mystic Stance notable passive skill now grants 12% faster start of energy shield recharge instead of 30. Bro, they're Patient Barrier now grants 50% increased energy shield instead of 60. My boy! The Quick Response notable passive skill now grants 10% faster start of energy shield recharge, previously 20%. And 20% faster start of energy shield recharge while not a full life, previously 30. We just got 10 gifted subs on YouTube as well from Maxioni. Thank you so much, dude. Appreciate that, man. Thank you, thank you. ES is dying. Not for real. Like we need some CPR here. Rapid recharge notable passive now is 12% instead of recharge rates. They're just killing it, my boy. The refocus notable passive skill now grants 20% increased mana regeneration rate while stationary instead of 30 increased energy recharge rate. My boy. Fuck, man. Max, thanks so much for the gift on YouTube, man. I appreciate that as well, dude. Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you. Barnes response. He's just AlkXDing spamming me. Dude, they are killing my ES, my boy. It was OP. Oh yeah, I'm not arguing that it shouldn't get gutted. It's a little, you know, just a teeny tiny bit over the top, maybe, but you know, it's good to see these changes. Like I approve of serious big meta shakeups, so I'm not opposed to these many changes to this extent at all. I actually think this is good. He asked, didn't see what happened to ES. Shattered Palm notable passive skill now provides 20% increased critical strike damage bonus instead of 10% to days. Shimmering notable passive skill now grants 10% faster start of energy shield recharge and 20% increased evasion if you've been hit recently. It no longer gives you 20% increased energy shield recharge rate if you haven't been hit recently. Staggering Palm notable passive skill now provides 25% increased physical damage, previously 20%, and now provides 10% chance of daze and a 20% increased critical strike damage. Storm Charge notable passive now provides damage penetrates 8% of enemy elemental resistances and 5% increased attack and cast speed with elemental skills instead of 15% critical hit chance or 40% increased elemental damage if you dealt a crit recently. Tempered Mind notable, that's actually a very good change, to be honest. The Tempered Mind notable passive skill tree now provides 15% increased effective fully broken armor, previously 20% increased critical strike damage bonus. I don't know about this because I don't ever play builds to utilize this, but that sounds like a decent change. The Voracious notable passive no longer grants 20% life leeches instant. It now grants 15% increased attack speed whilst leeching. Wide Barrier now grants 30% increased block chance and 20% reduced armor, previously 25% reduced defenses. The Wyvern's Breath notable passive skill has been updated, now provides 40% increased elemental ailment application if you have shapeshifted to an animal form recently. This now also applies to freeze buildup, but is otherwise identical. The first 2 small spell damage passive skills at the starting area of the passive tree for the witch and sorceress now provide 10% increased spell damage instead of 8. Get a buff. Small passive skills that grant fastest start of energy shield recharge rate now values at 6% instead of 15! What the fuck? Okay, so far, the small passive skills that grant fastest start of energy shield recharge now have values of 6% instead of 15, and there's been a ton of changes where energy shield recharge is like gutted in half across the board. They're really dragging energy shield down to the goddamn sewers, man. I'm all for it. It is deserved. I definitely will say that, but I did not expect it to do that. This is fantastic. It will change the entire landscape of northern builds, like on the northern part of the skill tree. It's fantastic. We're actually going to see non-energy shield builds up there. This is great. Like, really, really good, in my opinion. I'm very much for this. Small passive skill that granted energy shield recharge rate have been removed. Wait, small passive that granted energy shield recharge rate have been removed from the passive tree and replaced by starter faster energy shield recharge at lower values. So they're adding some to compensate it, but like everything's just been gutted down in half. It's crazy, dude. Small passive skills granting 10% increased amount of life leads now have values of 8%. Small banner effect, area effect passive skills now provide 12% increased area of banner instead of 15. The banner area tactician passive provides 16 increased banner area instead of previously 20. Unsavored feast, timeless dual notable. No longer grants 20% instant leech if you have at least 200 tribute. It now grants leech life 35% faster if you have at least 100 tributes, previously 25%. Thanks so much for all the subs, boys. I really do appreciate the support, guys. Thank you, thank you. Skill changes. Okay, so please have Infernal Legion in here. Wait, how far do we have left in this? I mean, we're getting close. Okay, skills with a fixed number of projectiles, such as Glacial Lance, can now benefit from the effects that cause a projectile count and modifiers to apply to something else instead, such as Ricochet 3 support. Skills which have a cost of 0 mana now displays this cost. This allows players to distinguish between skills like default attacks, which do not have a cost at all, and are thus unaffected by any plus cost modifier, from those which do have a base cost, but with a 0 base value, which are affected by all plus cost modifiers, even if they add different resource cost. Like adding life cost to a skill with a base mana cost of 0. Okay. Crossbow ammunition skills now have a base cost of 0 rather than having their cost completely disabled, meaning that effects that add additional cost now apply to them. Ignites inflicted on targets by oil ground that has been ignited can no longer compound and cannot be compounded with other ignites for the same skill use. Okay, so the ignite stacking thing is now fixed. That's great. All command skills now have 50% movement speed penalty during skill use instead of 70. So you're able to command your minions and be slightly less slow. I'm not sure how much I care about that. I don't know. I mean, it's a buff, right? It is. But you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah. Whatever. As a bingo, I completely forgot to check my bingo. I'm gonna be honest. Minion weapon swap nerf change didn't happen. Minion but not didn't happen. Didn't happen. This gotta happen. This happened. Well, did the reverse chill get nerfed? Fucked with the gloves thing? Evasion deflection has been buffed. So this is fucked. Yeah, that's about it so far, right? All right. Well, I mean, the Blood Mage kind of got nerfed from other sources, right? But they buffed it. So I guess it's kind of like how you see it. So I think we'll just leave it unchecked. Because the Blood Mage itself didn't get nerfed, to be fair. Align Fate, granted by the Oracle's Fateful Visions. Notable passive now as a modifier, so cooldown recovery rate also applies to Visage appearance frequency. That's kind of whatever, but I guess it makes sense. And it says the Warrior Totem no longer has a hidden 0.6 second delay between skill uses. Instead, this delay is now 50% of the skill's attack time. It's described accordingly on the skill. Bone Storm no longer has the sustained tag. Bone Shatter quality now grants up to 20% attack speed instead of 30%. Comet. Okay. They nerfed the damage, but not by much. I mean, it's 1181 versus 1243 at level 20. It's not a big damage nerf. Thanks for the sub, man. Appreciate you, dude. Fire and cold damage was drastically nerfed. I mean, Comet got nerfed. Min damage went up. No, it did not. 780. Yeah, it did actually. No, it went down as well. Min damage went down, but like it's just a very small damage scaling difference. But if you look at like the elemental versions of it, 1181 fire, previous was 1500. That's where the big ones are coming in. That's a big difference. Like Comet got giga nerfed to that. Cull the Weak. Now cast can't be evaded. Deals attack damage that was significantly buffed. Attack speed is 75% of base instead of 60s. It's faster and more and does more damage. And they increased the lower the mana cost as well. The maximum dash range has been increased by 15%. So Cull the Weak got buffed. Defiance Banner, Dread Banner, War Banner no longer have movement speed penalty during use. Now a banner aura base radius of 6 meters instead of 4.5. That's why they lowered the area increase on the tree. Sense. Earthquake Aftershocks is doing noticeably more damage, 666. Instead of 580 at level 20. Eternal Rage can no longer be activated in specific weapon sets. It is now required to be active in both weapon sets and will fail to activate if this is not possible. What? Feral Invocation no longer bypasses the cooldown of Socrates' skills. Flame Brand now has an energy gain penalty ability to incinerate. Fortifying Cry now only consumes... Thanks so much, Chibi, for the sub as well. Fortifying Cry now only consumes 1 stack when you detonate a shield wall to create a shockwave around each shield wall segment. Fortifying Cry shockwave from a single shield wall cannot hit the same enemy multiple times. Whoa. Hold up. Shield wall now deals... slightly less damage as well. Wait, does this kill the whole put a wall down, scream at it, and blow it up? Does this kill the shield wall play? I'm gonna ask Karn. I asked Karn because he'll be a better judge of that than I am. Can I get a link for the patch notes? Sure. Okay. Fragmentation rounds quality now grants plus 0 to 2 fragments per shot. Previously was more damage. Freezing salvo. Yeah, damage decreased. More magnitude chill inflicted and more freeze buildup was decreased. Gathering Storm now causes perfectly timed dash to explode any Tempest Bell on it. Create a massive shockwave that deals a stupid amount of damage. Shock ground is left in the wake of the Tempest shockwave, previously a perfect dash with a radius of 3.2 meters. Turning precise timing into devastating area clearing combo. Perfect timing shockwave can now only hit enemies once per skill use and no longer interact with objects created by non-Tempest Bell skills. Shockwave limit is 50. Quality now grants 0 to 20% longer perfect time window. Previously, which is maximum shockwaves per use. Yeah, shield wall doesn't shotgun anymore is basically dead in the water in my book, but like I haven't played it, so I asked Car and see what he says about it. Ghost Dance nerf. All right, let's see. The interval between gaining ghost shrouds is no longer a duration. It now has modifiers to cooldown recovery rate. Also applies to ghost shroud frequency gain. It also now has when hit, lose a ghost shroud and regenerate energy shield equal to 2% of your evasion rating per second if you have lost a ghost shroud recently. So it's like it's regenerating it instead of giving you a heal bump. Interesting. That's not bad. That's not bad. But you have like it's definitely worse, but it's not bad. Like it's not terrible. We talked about, me and Crip was talking about this. It was like both of us are in the boat of saying like no matter what they nerfed with the ghost dance, it will still be really, really strong because it's still evasion energy shield. Grim Feast, Grim Resurrection now has a 1 second cooldown. Okay. Ice Shot, Ice Charge no longer have 25% more freeze buildup. Ice Strike quality gets increased attack speed, which is double than before. Lightning Arrow, multiple lightning beams are no longer able to chain onto the same target. Where was this nerf, ages ago? Lunar Blessing, triggered moonbeams are no longer considered melee skills. LA is just fucked. Magma Barrier now deals slightly lower damage. Mirage Archer Mirror's Deadeye can now be used with channel skills, including Snipe, Plasma Blast, and Detonating Arrow. What the fuck? Makes sense, I guess, thematically. Let's see where else we're at. Let's see. Mirror of Refraction, granted by the series rule unique staff, now has a modifier to cooldown recovery rate also applied to mirror appearance frequency. Oil Barrage. Mana cost has been reduced by 18%. Empowered Oil Barrage now has a mana cost per second equivalent to the initial mana cost of Oil Barrage. Oil Barrage now deals 10% more damage at all levels, while Empowered Oil Barrage now deals 10% less damage at all levels. Empowered Oil Barrage now consumes a power charge every 1.5 seconds to continue channeling, previously every 2 seconds. So that's a kind of a noticeable impact. Let's see. Parry. Area of effect has been changed to more closely match its animation. No longer has bonus attack distance. Poison Burst Arrow. Poison duration is now 3 seconds at all gem levels. Previously was 3 up to 4.9. Quality is 10% more magnitude of poison instead of 20%. It's only 10. Pounds has a cooldown of 6 and then down to 5.1 second at gem level 3 to 20 instead of having it at 4 seconds. Interesting. Ravenous Swarm now has modifiers to cooldown recovery rate, also applies to swarm spawn frequency. Pounds is still the GOAT, yeah. So I had Pounds over here, but it's not getting nerfed. Well, okay. It is a nerf, but it's not a big nerf, to be fair. Rend fixed a bug where Lightning Charge Rend was scaling twice with levels. The base damage has been increased to compensate. Lightning Charge Rend now deals shitload more attack damage instead of 586. Okay, got it. Oh yeah, well I didn't have Comet specifically. This is referring to Caulk. Mostly Comet, but Caulk hasn't been changed that I've seen so far. Resonating Shield now deals 5 to 7 instead of 6 to 8. Rolling Magma now changed 3 times at level 1, previously 2. Scaling up to change 5 times at gem level 20 instead of 4. Rolling Slam now has a 5-hour second to total attack time, previously 4 hours. The first slam now deals less damage, and the second slam deals less damage. So they're basically lowering the damage of Rolling Slam to making it faster to somehow incentivize people to actually using this. I don't think this is enough. Shattering Spike, granted by the series Contempt unique experience, has 50% less magnitude damaging ailments you inflict. No longer has life leech from explosions with at least 15 Bloodstone Lances as instant. Shield wall now has lower damage. So they not only did they remove the shotgun, they actually lowered the damage as well. Shred quality grants 20% attack speed instead of 10% attack speed. Nope, I take it back. 20% increase attack speed instead of 10% more attack speed. So Shred got nerfed as well. Snipe. Okay, let's see this nerf. Now deals 312 damage, level 20 instead of 343. There's a tiny nerf. The explosion deals. Huh? Why would they buff it? The typo? Icy Blast is the 3000 attack damage at level 20, which is also a buff. 30 to 50, 33 50 more damage with hits and 4 explosions originating from the unique enemy. Originating from a unique enemy at level 320. Previously always 50%. So now it's 33 up to 50. Icy Blast explosion range is 3 meters instead of 3.2. So can someone explain to me why the fuck this got buffed? Khan said shield was unplayable. Yeah, I figured as much. Later patch notes explain it. Okay. Moving on then. Moving on. Spell totem can now be used while moving and has received an updated animation. Did I miss Infernal Legion? Oh, it's a support gem. Oh god. Oh. Supercharged Slam now more clearly stated has been fixed attack time that cannot be modified. This is purely a description change. Tame Beast. Summon Beast now deals 40% more damage at level 9. Scaling to 84 at 20. Now immediately summons newly tamed Beast if you have enough spirit. They have to gut the Infernal Legion. There's no fucking way they don't gut it. Tempest Bell can now be ancestrally boosted as though it were a strike skill, and its maximum number of active bells has been increased to 3 instead of 1, greatly improving its combo potential. Shockwave now deals 119 instead of 132, has lower damage. As a result, it can trigger once every 0.3 seconds instead of 0.25. Interesting. Toxic Growth now fires 5 pustules instead of 4 with a limit of 5, previously 12. Also limiting it to, Quality grants additional pustules and limit at the same time. Okay. That's an interesting change to Toxic Growth. Thrashing Vines, up to the description, clarifier frequently spawns vines is not a functional change. Time of need, the interval between blessings is no longer duration and now has modifiers. The cooldown recovery rate also applies to blessing frequency, and the interval has been reduced down to 8.1 seconds instead of 10.1. Volcano now has a base crit strike chance of 8 instead of 5%. Whirling Assault quality grants 20% increased attack speed instead of more attack speed. That is a massive nerf. Wing Blast Shockwave now deals 25% more damage at all levels. Okay. That's not much left. Not much left. Okay. Well, we didn't see Skeletons didn't get buffed. Ravenous Swarms got buffed. This didn't get buffed. This didn't happen yet. Not that we've seen, but like, when it comes to skills, Hexblast didn't get buffed. The rest didn't get buffed. This didn't get buffed. This didn't get fixed. Well, maybe in bug fixes, I guess. This didn't happen. Oh, Living Lightning is a support, actually. Yeah, you're right. Unleash, Expand, Salvo, and Freezing Salvo support all now use the same concept as seals. Instead of each having their own version, there's been standardized rules for seals that will be consistent for all cases, resulting in some behavior changes. Supports granting seals now consistently all have the sealed category. Freezing Salvo and Salvo support previously had an extra restriction that the relevant skill could not gain seals while you were performing that skill. That is no longer the case, bringing them into consistency with the other seal mechanics. Salvo support previously gave a seal every 2 seconds up to a maximum of 3 and provided 2 projectiles per seal. It now gains 1 seal every 1 second up to a maximum of 6, providing 1 projectile per seal. Advancing Storm can now support any storm skill under any condition rather than only spells you use yourself. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is just more twisters with a salvo on it, yeah. Orion's Metal now grants 25% chance to load a bolt into all crossbow skills or dealing a killing blow with a supported skill, previously 100%. Okay. Its Serious Impatience can no longer support persistent skills. But Tears of Vengeance, when you freeze a target with a support skill, for each 2 rage you have, you and allies in your presence gain 1% of damage as cold damage for 15 seconds. Previously, for each rage you have, 1 rage you have for 20 seconds. So they're lowering the time and halving the damage increase. This is a direct nerf to my wolf build. Oh, that's annoying as fuck. Brink 1 can now be cut as a level 1 support gem, previously level 2. Culmination 2 no longer has combo count loss for support skills, occurs 50% slower. It now has support skills lose combo if you generate no combo for 6 seconds, previously 4. Supported skills can now gain up to 10 combo, previously 20, and supported skills now just 4% more damage per combo instead of 2, so they just make it easier to use Culmination. Corrupting Cry. Oh, I see Infernal Legion down there. And Living Lightning. Okay. Well, I don't want to read it yet. Corrupting Cry 2 no longer causes the supported skill to inflict corrupted blood, but instead it triggers a skill which inflicts corrupted blood, scaled by the level of the gem it's socketed into. Decaying Hex no longer causes a supported curse to inflict decay. Instead, it triggers a skill which inflicts decay, scaled by the level of the gem it is socketed into. Diala's Desire, we saw this in the footage. This was expected because we saw it in the footage where it was only +5 quality on one of the support skills. Dodre's Undoing no longer causes... Wait, I wonder if they're going to change Rakiatas. Dodre's Undoing no longer causes Cursed Ground created by supported skills to become hazards. Now causes Cursed Ground if created by the supported skill to spawn Witch Toads on an interval which seeks out enemies and explode, dealing chaos damage. Alright. Infernal Legion 1. Now grants minions from supported skill to take 10% of their max life as fire damage per second, previously 20. Minions for supported skills ignite enemies within a radius of 1.5 meters, as though dealing base fire damage equal to 10% of the maximum of life. It's 20. Okay, how is level 2? So they take 10% of max life as fire instead of 20. Ignite enemies 2 meters. 10% of minions max life previously 20. Now additional grants minions for supported skills have 20%. They just... What? Okay, let me just go to... where is it? Infernal Legion. Where is it? There. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, Infernal Legion is dead. Like, dead. And not only that, they just drop Infernal Legion level 3 can no longer be obtained. They're like, it is just gone. It's out of here. Okay. I didn't think they were going to do that. And so, you know, objectively speaking, it is a clear speed reduction on like rage builds, for example, or like wasp builds. But now we have melee splash. So who gives a fuck? You know, this is good riddance, 100% written all over it. This is a good change. I like this. Nice. I approve. Living Lightning no longer replaces minions when summoning a new one while already a max number of minions. What it means is just it refreshes the duration of the one that's already active. It doesn't, no, it just doesn't replace it. It should, in this case, just refresh the duration on the one that exists. That's a buff, but it's an irrelevant one. Unless they're not making it refresh because they didn't say that. Either way, I'm not going to treat that as a buff. it's either a teeny tiny buff or it's just whatever. Living Lightning 2. Where is Living Lightning 2? What? I don't see Living Lightning 2. Alright, whatever. Morgana's Tempest can now support any storm skill on any condition rather than the only spell you cast yourself. Overabundance 3 now properly describes that it cannot support persistent skills. Overextend can no longer be obtained. Existing enemies are unaffected by this change. Picret's Pact no longer causes the support skill to inflict corrupted blood, but instead it triggers a skill which inflicts corrupted blood. Scale the level of gem it's talking into. No longer has lose 2% of max life per corrupted blood inflicted by supported skill. Instead, it now has supported skill cost 10% of max life for each time they've been used recently, up to a maximum of 30%. Rage 1, 2, 3 can now... Rage 1, 2, 3 can now support minions. Okay. I mean, we saw the rage support gem image. Like, we saw the picture in the skills, in the footage when they were showing off the Spirit Walker companion build. We did see it. This was expected, but holy shit, this is gonna be so much fun. So I mean, it kind of makes sense that they're kind of gutting off a lot of the rage bonuses from like the commanding rage stuff and whatnot. But I mean, this is looking very juicy. Wrath's Assault now grants supported skill loads 4 bolts when you dodge, previously 5, and supported skill loads 3 additional bolts instead of 4. Now also grants supported skills have increased attack speed instead of 20, and gutting that down to 10% by having it. Refraction 1 and 2 now additionally causes supported banner skill to grant allies deflection rating equal to 15 on level 1, 20 at level 2 of their evasion rating. Shock conduction can no longer be obtained. Static shocks updated. Description to clarify that it triggers some shocking hits. Uthrit's Augury now grants +2 level of supported skill gems. If exactly 2 other supports are modifying them, previously +3. Uthred's Omen now grants +2 level of supported skills if exactly 1 other support is modifying them, previously +3. Volt now grants supported skill gain 2 voltaic charge per meter travel instead of 3. Supported skills now also gain supported skills now also gain 1% of damage as extra lightning damage per voltaic charge consumed, previously 5% per 10 voltaic charge. Okay. Almost through, boys. Hang in there. Lich minions, Oracle minions, Spear Walker minion. Unique item changes. The Abaterno unique boots no longer grant 10% less movement speed. Skill speed per dodge roll in the past 20 seconds, and now 250 increased armor, evasion, energy shield instead of 100 to 150.
Been a while since a ding heard lol.
Oh my god. I was thriving in the silence destruction, but thanks so much for sub, man. It now has your speed is unaffected by slows while sprinting. Gain over encumbrance for 4 seconds when you dodge roll. Existing versions of this unique can be updated to the new armor, evasion, and shield values using a divine orb, but will not receive any other changes. The Apep Supremacy unique focus no longer has 30-50% increased start of any shield reach. Dude, they're fucking it over, man. Bro, they like all sources of any shield recharge rate is just taking a deep dive. The Serious Acuity unique gloves have been reworked. They grant 150 to 200% increased armor, 100 to 150 maximum life, and leech 10% of physical attack damage is life, and 10% physical damage dealt by your hits cause blood loss and vaal pact. They also grant the Herald of the Royal Queen skill. Vaal cultivation or outcomes on a Serious Acuity also have changed. Existing enemies are not affected by this change. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. The Sierra and Inheritance unique body armor now grants 15 to 30% increased energy shield recharge rate, which is a nerf. Black Flame unique ring no longer has enemies ignited by you take chaos damage instead of fire damage from ignite. It now has Withered you inflict also increases fire damage taken. Oh. Ignite you inflict deals chaos damage instead of fire damage, and Withered does not expire on enemies ignited by you. Additionally, it now has 80 to 100% increased ignite magnitude, previously 50, and 60 to 75% reduced ignite duration on enemies, previously 50. Ignite magnitude and duration modifiers can be updated to new values using Divine Orb. That's pretty cool, actually. I like the Black Flame. That's actually really cool. The Blistering Bond unique ring now has fire damage, also contributes to bleeding magnitude, and bleeding you inflict deals fire damage instead of physical damage, in addition to its other modifiers. Existing items are not affected by this change. Brass Dome unique body armor now has 500, 600 increased armor, which is a nerf. Existing version of this unique can now be made worse with a Divine Orb. So, if they're having armor issues with mitigating damage, why would they nerf, like, the armor providing body armor? Like, what's the point in that? It's not like everyone was running around using Brass Dome to begin with, so why the fuck would this get nerfed? That's a weird nerf, yeah. Is a bunch of Runic Ward? Yeah, I guess the Runic Ward, that makes sense. Thank you, Noy, for the sub as well, man. Yeah, I guess Runic Ward makes sense. Chair stuff. Buff. Carnage Heart, unique Gambit now has 25 to 50% increased damage while leeching. Chober Chabber unique Mace now has a 2 to 3 plus the level of all minion skills. Well, that's still shit. The Death Sarp unique bow no longer has bow attacks fire 3 additional arrows. Instead, it has 250 to 330 surpassing chance to fire additional arrows. The Elevor unique helmet now grants charms to gain 1 charge per second instead of 0.5. Now provides 1 to 2 charm slots, previously +1. Existing enemies can be buffed using Divine Orb. The Steras Path unique ring no longer has cold resistance, is unaffected by area penalties. It now has +5% to 10% of fire and cold resistance per equipped item with a lightning resistance modifier. Existing enemies are not affected by this change. Chober Chabber is also level 33. It can be buffed with the runes. Thank you for pointing that out. I did not think about that. That would be very interesting. But my understanding of that buff is that the base item gets buffed, not the modifiers. It's just a baseline item. So the base mace would become a higher base mace, so the damage goes up. And like a lower base tower shield would have lower armor, and a higher base is more armor. That is my understanding of upgrading the uniques. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm pretty confident that I'm correct. The Glow Swarm unique ring now is using a mana flash grants guard equal to 100% of the flash recovery amount for 4 seconds. Existing enemies are not affected by this change. Hollow Mass unique helmet now grants Wildwood gift skill, whereas Marian Spirit offer guidance, allowing you to see nearby ancient blooms. It also now has remnants you create affect allies in your presence as well as you when collected. This is what we talked about before. This was the new helmet, right? So we talked about this. The Husk of Dreams unique body armor, renamed Reverie. We talked about this one. Here is Ire unique body armor has lowered evasion and gain damage is extra cold, which is lowered, and it can be made worse with the Divine Orb. Great. Keeper of the Arc unique helmet has 240, 340 increased armor initial, which is a buff from before. The Levinstone unique ring no longer has +1 level of all lightning skills, and now has lightning skills chain +1 times. Megalomaniac unique jewel now drops identified. The Plague Finger unique gloves cannot be. The Plague Finger unique gloves now cannot inflict elemental ailments. Okay. Crypto Clearing Infernal Legion only a slight nerf. Well, the reason it's a slight nerf is because Tamed Beast. Well, it's only a slight nerf towards Tamed Beast because Tamed Beast has been given a more damage multiplier. It's just a massive nerf for non-Tamed Beast Infernal Legion play. But most of the builds that focused on Infernal Legion did so with Tamed Beast. And Tamed Beast have a multiplicative damage scaling modifier. So it's still a nerf, but it's not as massive as it sounds originally. The Price Pain unique ring no longer has deal your thorns damage to enemies you stun with melee attacks. It now has a 25% chance to deal your thorns damage to enemies you hit with melee attacks. Okay. Radiant Grief unique helmet now has enemies in your presence are ignited as though dealt 200 base fire damage, previously 100. The Saffron's Resolve unique ring no longer has lightning resistance, is unaffected by area penalties. It now has 5 to 10% to cold and lightning resistance per equipped item with a fire resistance modifier. Existing enemies are not affected by this change. The Seed of Cataclysm unique ring no longer has 30 to 50% increased critical spell damage bonus. It now has 5% reduced critical spell damage bonus per critical hit you've dealt with spells recently. 15 to 30% chance of spell damage with critical hits to be lucky. The second Resolve's unique ring has been renamed to Saffron's Resolve, sells longevity in Asteria's path. Signaquair unique gloves have increased armor evasion energy shield. It no longer has enemies immobilized by you take 20% more damage. Instead, now has 30 to 50% increased damage against mobilized enemies. So that is a nerf, quite noticeable. Soul Mantle unique body armor no longer has 20 to 30% reduced totem life, and instead now has plus 75 spirits. That's a good change. That's a good Soul Mantle change. Surely Sis will be playing totems now, right? There's no shot Sis will not touch totems with these things. The Svala unique shield, cast on block skill, now has supported skill cost nothing. It also now has 50 to 100 runic ward. Existing items are not affected by this change. He's 50-50. Well, there you go. See, Twitter? Well, I'm busy doing this right now, so I'm not going to go hunt people down on Twitter. I'm just saying. The site has longevity unique ring, no longer has lightning resistance, is unaffected by area penalties. It's the same thing here. It now has 5 to 10% chance of fire and lightning resistance per equipped item with cold resistance modifiers. Surface Genesis unique belt no longer has 10 to 30% increased charm charges used. It now has 50% of charges consumed by it used. Life flask granted to your charms. Skills from corrupted gems have 15 to 25% increased cost efficiency during any flask effect, and 25-50% increased corrupted charm effect duration. Dude, Pox might run this for that unique charm thingy for fire damage. Actually, that would be kind of cool to see. And that's it for support gems. How far off are we? Oh, we're closing in. Closing in. Oof. Okay. Greater and perfect currencies have been made somewhat rarer, with transmutation and augmentation being made significantly rarer. Okay. Greater Orb Transmutation and Greater Orb Augmentation now have a minimum modifier of 44 instead of 55, making them more accessible. You can now begin dropping in Act 4. Divine Orbs are more common. Divine Orbs are more common, boys. You heard it here. You heard it here first, boys. They are way more common. Fake things from now on. I mean, people kind of got fed on the things from this league, I guess. The corruption outcome that randomizes the numerical values of the modifiers on an item beyond the normal range now multiplies each modifier based on the current value instead of randomizing the value. Oh! So for those of you who don't understand what this means, what people did with the corruption randomizing numerical values outcome is that the item would first be divined, and then it would create a flip on it. Now, a multiplier on it. So now you have to divine the numbers you want to be, which is the high end of it, then corrupt it. So this becomes a divine sync. This is a smart change. Do I like it? You know, I like my corruption stuff, but this is a smart sync creation. Not a bad change, actually. Sanctifying an item now multiplies each modifier value based on the current value instead of randomizing. It's the same thing for sanctifying. This is really good as well. It's the same thing here. That's good changes. That's actually good changes. Omen of Corruption can no longer be obtained. Oh. Martial weapons and flasks found in the campaign are now more likely to be the highest base type available at that level. The overall number of essences found in the campaign has been increased, though the proportion of being essences of infinite has been significantly decreased. This will lead to finding more useful essences as you progress. The amount of armor granted by items and modifiers have been increased as you get to higher levels. At 65, you could have approximately 33% more armor, tapering down to 15% plus 80%. This means armor got buffed. Evasion got buffed. I already did that because of the deflection buff. The amount of energy granted by items is now roughly 8% more and unchanged at 80% plus. Yeah, but yes, got it. The Vial Robe armor base type now has 171 base energy shield instead of previously 184. Base armor of existing items will be automatically adjusted, while armor modifiers and existing items can be updated with a Divine Orb. Increase the base weapon range of some martial base weapons. One-handed mace now a base weapon range of 1.3 instead of 1.1, 1.5 or two-handed mace instead of 1.3, 1.4 quarterstaffs instead of 1.3. The obliterated bow and artillery bow base types had a 1.1 attacks per second. It previously 1.15, so a little nerf there. The implicit modifiers for Warden and Guardian bows now provides 25 to 35% chance to chain additional time, previously 20 to 30%, so a slight little buff for that. Implicit modifiers for Rabid, Fury, Magi, Talisman now provides 7 to 10 max range instead of 8 to 12. Okay. The implicit modifiers for Volt Fang and Thunder Talisman now provides 20 to 30% increased magnitude of shock you inflict instead of 15 to 20, so that's a buff. Alternate quality items from Breach Catalyst can now be salvaged to return a portion of the catalyst used. That's actually pretty smart. The plus level, okay, here we go. The plus level of all melee skills modifiers on two-handed attack weapons now has a value of +5 at tier 1 instead of +7. The lower tiers have also been adjusted. Projectile, melee, and then projectile on one-handed. Plus 2 level projectile on quivers. Plus level gems on attack weapon. Roll above 18. Added surpass. Wait, no minions? Oh. Spells and minions got heavily adjusted, but not across the board. Huh. Interesting. Add a surpassing chance to find additional arrow modifiers for quivers. Yeah. This is the minion league, brother. You're in like the house you want to be in. This is the place you want to hang out in, because you say minion, like this is the minion league, but here's the secret that nobody tells you. Every league is minion league. Every league. Okay. People don't like, the reason the other content creators don't say it is because they have guides for shit that's not minions. And like they're doing weird stuff, like non-minion stuff. Like they have to hype up non-minion stuff for the community so that they can sell their guides that they're paywalling, you know? See what I'm saying? My guys are free. It's always Minion League. The perfect essence of battle now provides 3 to attack skills on two-handed weapons instead of 5. And 2 on one hand instead of 3. Oh, dude. Essence of Hysteria now grants 20 to 23 increase energy shield recharge rate when applied to foci instead of 41 to 45. Brother, they're killing energy shield. Body runes now grant 35, 45, 60 life and armor, which is a buff from 40 on the high end. And the energy shield was buffed as well. And same thing with the other stats was also buffed across the board. Okay. Mind Runes is 40 mana from 35, and then 75 on staves, 50, so just buff across the board, even on the leech thing, same thing here. Rebirth Rune is 35 life per enemy kill, which is also buffed. Life per second. Regeneration got buffed a bit as well by 0.1 on the high end. Inspiration Rune is mana on kill, also got a slight buff. Storm Runes. Stun buildup was also buffed. Vision runes for accuracy got buffed. And on the flask, yes, buff. Desert runes. The rest from the desert, like the resistant runes got buffed. All 3 of them. But not chaos. So the elemental rest runes got buffed across the board. Interesting. Robust runes is 12 strength, so the attribute ones got buffed. The standard rune bonded modifier, 29, 20 mana, got double, lesser rebirth, 4% energy shield recharge rate. It was nerfed, obviously, as expected. Rebirth runes nerfed. Greater Rebirth, nerfed. You're so fucking big, dude. Gracious Runes of Recovery now grants 30% increase of initial recharge range of body armor instead of 50. Mega nerfed. Lady Hestra's Rune of Winter no longer grants flat damage there. Instead, it grants... Again, it adds the same damage, but only against chilled or frozen enemies. Lead's Rune is lightning damage, but only against shocked enemies. And this one is only against ignited enemies. All idols can now also be socketed into scepters. Very interesting. Idol of Ergrin is now 20% increased curse duration when socketed into a scepter. Idol of Ishta is now 50% cost efficiency when socketed into helmet instead of 12. 30% mana recovery rate while your companion is in your presence when socketed into a scepter. Idol of Grold now is socketed into boots. It now grants 50% increased total power count of war cry instead of 20. That's a big buff. Now grants 15 increased damage for each different companion in your presence when socketed into scepter. On the modifier now grants 30% increased glory generation. Okay. You get your ES once per map. Yeah. Idol of Maxarius now grants 0.2 flash charges per second when socketed into a scepter. Ralakesh is 4% armor evasion energy shield while your companion is your presence when socketed into a scepter. Sirius is allies in your presence have increased movement speed when socketed into a scepter. Idol of Thruldana now grants allies in your presence have added flat chaos damage when socketed into a scepter. I want to play Chonk so fucking badly, dude. I want to play Chonk. I want to play a minion Chonk so fucking bad, dude. That's nutty. I straight what is Chonk? Acolyte of Chayula. I've been making some videos about it. It's the Acolyte of Chayula monk. Let's see. Bear Idol now grants 10% increased air effect when socketed in helmets, previously 8%. Bottom modifier now grants 12% increased reservation efficiency of companion skills when socketed in helmets, previously 10%. Okay. Boar Idol now grants allies in your presence regen 0.5% of life per second when socketed in scepters. Previously, allies in your presence regenerate flat HP. The bottom modifier now grants 25% increased war cry cooldown. Cat Idol is 25% accuracy rating while solid gloves. The bottom modifier is now 30% charm charges again instead of 20. Fox Idol is limited to 1. Now grants other socketed idols on this item also grant their bonded modifiers when socketed in body armors. Raise to 2% quality of all skills. The bottom modifier now grants 5% quality to all skills when socketed in body armors instead of +4 to all attributes. Interesting. Owl Idol is 12% CDR when socketed in foci instead of 10. And allies in your presence have 10% cast speed with socketed in scepters instead of 8. The bottom modifier grants 20% increased effective Archon boss when you socketed in foci, previously 15. Ox Idol is 15% block chance for socketed in shields and bucklers, previously 10. That's a big difference. And allies in your presence have 12% all resistance, or elemental rest actually, sorry, when socketed in scepters instead of 8. Bottom modifier now grants 15% chance of damage of enemies hitting you to be unlucky when socketed in shields or bucklers, previously 10%. Primate Idol is 15% max life for minions when socketed in helmet instead of 12. And allies in your presence deal 40% damage when socketed in scepter instead of 30. So they buffed the Primate Idol. The bonded modifier is grants remnants can be remnants can be collected from 50% further away when socketed in helmet instead of 20. Huh. Yeah, bonded mods is from the druid thing, the shaman, right? Rabbit Idol now has a limit of 1. It now grants 12% rarity of items found when socketed in body armor instead of 5%. 15% increased spirit when in a scepter instead of 10%. Bonded modifier now grants 10% increased quantity of gold dropped by slain enemies when socketed in body armor instead of 5%. Snake Idol is 8% increased curse magnitude when socketed in gloves instead of 5. Allies impressive 10% attack speed in a scepter instead of 8. Bonded mod is 15 remnant effect when socketed in gloves instead of 10%. Bro, I want to play Chunk so badly right now, dude. Holy fuck, man. I'm gonna start Spirit Walker, but my second character, like, it's gonna be a fucking Chunk, dude. I'm telling you now, I think that Chunk minions are gonna be fucking crazy. Stag Idol now has limited 1 and now grants projectiles a 50% chance of fork when socketed in helmets. Previously 50% increased thorns, critical hit chance. Falling modifier for helmet is 30% chance for additional projectile with forking. So 40. Wolf Idol is 15 magnitude of bleed instead of 10. Alice Impresses is 20% crit damage instead of 14. Bonded is reduced magnitude of bleeding, 25 instead of 15. Okay. Atmoa's Soul Core of Retreat no longer has a 30% faster start of initial recharge. Oh, why would they keep that? When socketed in a body armor or focus. Instead, it now grants a gain additional ailment threshold equal to 50. Oh, who the fuck cares? Holy shit. Wow. Okay, this one sucks. Max rage on ruby jewels can now roll between 1 and 2 maximum range, previously +1. Existing enemy can possibly be updated to the new values with divine orb. Increased chaos damage on sapphire jewels can roll between 7 and 13 instead of 6 to 12. Suffix modifier granting faster start of initial recharge can no longer roll on the foci, intelligence, body armors, or jewels. Bro, dude, that's it. I'm done. ES is dead. Bro, I'm sending this to Carl. I don't think you've read this yet. Brother. That is actually dead, bro. Ay. Increase initial recharge rate suffix modifier can now roll on intelligence body armors. The implicit modifiers of the arcane raiment and sacramental robe or body armors is now 15 to 25% increase in initial recharge rate instead of 40 to 50. Fever prefix no longer roll on timeless jewels. Okay, buffering suffix now grants 12 to 15 recharge instead of 36 to 40. I really like that if you want to play Energy Shield now, you're gonna have to do some proper investment in it. It no longer is, oh, my character can wear all Energy Shield gear, I'm immortal. That's no longer happening. Like, we'll see how balanced this will feel when we start playing, but these are good changes. We needed this. Our doors is 16 to 19 instead of 41-45. Suffusion 2023 instead of 4650. Cast speed modifiers on rings and amulets and are no longer shared with foci and wands. For rings and amulets, these modifiers now roll at a slightly higher level. The highest tier cast speed modifier for rings now rolls at level 60 and at 66 for amulets. The maximum values of these modifiers are unchanged. Increase banner area effect modifiers and jewels now have values of 6 to 16 instead of 10 to 20. That's because the base was increased for these. Desecrated modifiers grant instant leash can no longer roll. The Squire's hybrid physical damage and accuracy modifier on weapons now has a minimum level of 8 instead of 1. Existing enemies will have their level requirement changed. That's good for early leveling. The Journeyman's hybrid physical damage accuracy modifier on weapons now has a minimum level of 14 instead of 11. Okay. Because you'd rather have the flat or percent rather than the hybrid in the early levels. Obviously, you want all of them, but blue items will be better with that. Precise accuracy modifier is level 8. Reliable accuracy modifier is 13 instead of 11. Gladiatorial helm base type has been renamed to Kessis. Oswald no longer undercuts you for the priceless idols found in Act 3, now offering you 3, 4, and 6,000 for each, previously 5, 1, and 1.5. I don't think... Okay, question. Does anyone actually pick these up in the campaign and selling them to Oswald? Like, do you actually do that? Just be honest, chat. Spam up your answer. Just be honest. Do you actually pick them up? By accident? I picked them up by accident. I threw them out again. I did once. Yeah, okay, that's fair. I did do it once. I'm going out of my way not to loot them because they take room in my inventory. Gold prices of weapons for a synchronous trade has been increased by approximately 50%. The desecrated map modifier of Union no longer functional. This was legacy modifier that only existed in the early access leagues. All right, monster changes. 500 gold, 500 gold. Yeah, but 4 slots in your inventory slot is 4 slots. The culling strike threshold for normal enemies is now 35 instead of 30. Monster leech resistance now starts at a later level, and values are lower at every level. All monster rarities now have the same amount of leech resistance. Essence monster packs are now affected by the modifiers to pack size. As Mary spirits so you're saying we can get like mega essence packs? As Mary spirits that are released from monsters now retain their power and empower other spirits released from the monster. Beam from the priest of the sun will no longer ignore some walls. You can now refill some flash charges when Viper Napuatsi solos constrict the area of her arena. They actually nerfed Napuatsi fight. They're helping the attrition in that fight for people. I mean, okay, that's fair. Wind buff. The Burning Dead in Ogam Village now deal a portion of their damage as fire, previously purely physical, through the visual and telegraph of the Lightning Doriani Elite monster. Quest changes. You can no longer enter Plunder's Point until you have turned in all 4 map pieces in King's March. That's fair. You can now receive a greater Mind Rune in the Halls of the Dead when interacting with Navali, previously a lesser Mind Rune. You no longer need to visit the Halani Gates in order to access Trader's Passage if you already freed Risu. That's good. User interface changes. Added accessibility settings to increase the size of pop-ups. Yeah. These can be found in the UI section of the options panel. The dedicated keybind to perform a dodge roll, which will not cause the player to sprint when held down. This keybind is unbound by default, but must be manually assigned an input option if you wish to use it. That's a good change. Added a show only available option to the hideout decoration list when using mouse and keyboard. For players using click to move while channeling a skill can be used while moving will no longer interrupt channeling. They should significantly improve the usability of skills such as Flame Breath, Incinerate, and click to move. So I'm aware that most of you guys are all playing with fucking WASD. But here's the thing, boys. Here's the thing. Some of us are old, okay? Some of us are old. There, I said it. Some of us are old. We grew up playing Diablo 2 and have played click to move in literally 99% of all ARPG games ever to have existed. And some of us, like myself, prefer click to move. I'm sorry. That's a good change. I'm sorry. I'm old. I'm a dad gamer. Improve visual clarity, load times, and performance of the Act 1 to 3 world maps. Additionally, they've been made more accurately reflect the in-game directionality of area layouts. Skill information pop-ups no longer moved modified stats to the top of the panel. They're still shown in blue. The notification that shows when an item in your merchant tab has sold now displays a different message when the sold item is in a different league. The reroll button in the ritual UI now pulses when you have a free reroll available. Empowered minions from various modifiers or sources now update the text for minion displayed on the monster. The augment stash tab has been updated and now has 5 sections, making an enemy now shows the mark on their life bar. Maximum range, range loss delay, and range loss per second are now displayed in the character panel. Good. Increase the maximum character limit for search boxes to 250 characters. Copying an item's text now always copies the advanced description format. Searching for buy an item text will now match the advanced description format. You can now set favorite traits at the currency exchange when using mouse and keyboard. You now pin a tracking scroll to your social profile to display to your friends, guild, and party members. That's funny. You can now preview microtransaction weapon skins in the cosmetic tab without needing the applicable weapon type equipped. Add a top-down camera view for editing your hideout when using a controller. Added a feature to quickly change the currency you're currently applying when playing with a controller. Rework the currency exchange UI when playing with a controller. Improve target selection for items and interactable objects when using a controller. Update and restructure the option menu. Enabled in-game clock option for PlayStation and Xbox. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. What's the name of the floaty thing that allowed us to submit an item? Voidborn, was it? That's the only one I care about. Armor sets. Voidborn. Is Voidborn in here? Nope. Back attachment. Don't care. I have too many. Enable the following existing helmets. Don't care. Remaining portrait frame. Enabled all of the remaining. I have 84 of them. Ah. Okay. Enable existing originators and awakeners character effect microtransactions. That's pretty nice. Fishy, trap wisps. Okay. Anchor drop rare finishers coming into PV2. Hallelujah. Okay. Torture maze, mage gauntlet, twilight helmet. Okay. Bronze and silver marionette character skins. Okay. Exile's pilfering ring. Now tracking scroll. Crafting now additionally tracking the course locket fracturing orb items. Useful for high value crafting outcomes. Tracking scroll of headhunting now has been updated to also track some new bosses. Bug fixes. Wait, we're at the end. That's a long list of bug fixes, though. Holy. Fix a bug where a life flask could not always be used while at full life when the enduring elixir and pathfinder notable passive skill, despite it allowing their effect to stay on you while full life. That's a good change. Fix a bug where the ritualist ritual sacrifice skill gain a cooldown at level 20 specifically. Information about using ritual sacrifice on yourself has now been folded into the skill's description rather than being described separately on the As the Whispers Demand passive. This is purely a description change. Fix the bug where Pounce was providing additional mark effects to Predator's mark or socketed marks. Fix an issue with the prevented Mirage Archer and Mirror's Deadeye from properly rotating to follow the target while using rapid shots and similar skills. Fix an issue that allows certain skills to be socketed into Mirror's Archer and Mirror's Deadeye that should have been prevented. Fix a bug that caused Devour or Feral Invocation to not interact correctly. Fix a bug with Minion's ability did not bypass. Oh! Thank you. That is great news. I'll drink to that. Cheers. That is such a good change, man. Like, straight up. What does it mean? It means you can't play builds that you go up to a pack of enemies, weapon swap to teleport your minions to you, have them Infernal Legion kill themselves, explode with Minion's ability, and then not die because of Last Gasp or Tekron's Revenge, and then weapon swap to bring them back up to life with full HP. Now, they're gonna die. They will die. Which means we are very likely going to rather look into minion instability with temp minions, and there's only one option when it comes to that topic, and that is zombies. So zombies minion instability will happen. Someone will make that build. Maybe me, maybe someone else. It will happen. I can guarantee you right now it's gonna happen. Popcorn zombies. Yeah, I can guarantee you right now it will 100% happen. 100%. Need corpses? Need power charges. There are ways to solve that. 100% will guarantee you it's gonna happen. Fix a bug where thunderstorms could be created out of bounds. Zombie stability. Yeah, I would guarantee it will happen. Either I will do it or someone else will. It's going to happen. Was you the mini master? Well, the thing is, we have plenty of very good minion guide creators in the community. I don't have time to make everything. But I'm saying, if someone will make it either before I get to it, or I will make it myself. Like, it's going to happen. Because you get the empowered zombies with the power charge, and it's actually going to be really good. Beltone zombies? I don't think so. I'd have to double check, but that is too much precasting when it used to be clearing, right? Fix the bug where the thunderstorms would be created out of bounds. Fix an issue where Holopon Technique was not providing its bonuses to most skills that could be used with any martial weapon. Holopon Technique now replaces your unarmed base damage for affected attacks, rather than adding damage on top of the base unarmed damage. Fix a bug that could cause modifiers of unarmed critical hit chance not to be applied or display critical hit chance on the skill of information pop out. Fix several issues with the mechanics that make modifiers or number projectiles apply to the other values instead. Fix some cases where some of the stats give a chance for additional projectiles didn't apply to skills like Rain of Arrows that use to fix the number of projectiles to determine the number of things to place. Let's see. What was that? Fix some cases where the stats of additional chains didn't apply to some beam skills. Fix the bug where the benefits of quality provided a comet were not functioning. Fix the bug where Devour and Lightning Warp were able to devour or explode some corpses they shouldn't. Fix the bug where Poison Spore support did not have appropriate vendor or synchronous trade prices. Fix a bug where Burning Inscription support were creating ignited ground around a monster instead of on top of the runic inscription. Fix a bug where the low tolerance passive skills incorrectly described as increased effective poison instead of increased magnitude. Bug for Arctic Howl could empower you in human form while using Echoing Cry. Fix some issues where Ice Crystals and Glacial Bolt could have weird damage calculations in some situations. Fix a bug where Wrath Pit Globe Unique Focus was missing its unique on-cast effect. This again won't be affected unless you use a Divine Orb on them. Fix the bug where Tactician's cannons ready. Notable passive skill would not cost tokens to attack when the player used Molten Blast, Rolling Magma, Old Bears, or Power Charge Falling Thunder. Interesting. Fix a bug where the Melting Maelstrom unique Ultimate Mana Flash was unable to hit enemies. Rate the patch now. I mean, let me finish them. I don't have that much left. I'm just going through the bug fixes right now. Fix the bug where attacks that struck both weapons simultaneously while dual wielding would have a longer attack time than intended. The intention for these skills to use the average attack time of both your weapons. Fix the bug where skills that cost a percentage of max energy shield could not be used if you had no maximum energy shield. Fix the bug where the stats giving a chance for projectiles to be able to chain from terrain did not correctly count how many chains have been used, allowing projectiles in some cases to chain forever from terrain. You know that was a thing. Fix the bug where Forge Hammer Slams would not count when tracking stats for the Titan's ancestral empowerment. Fix the bug where heightened charge support would not apply to flicker strikes, extra flickers per power charge consumed. Fix the bug where Living Lightning did not scale its level on the gem it was supporting. Huh? So Living Lightning is supposed to actually do damage? It wasn't nerfed, no. Interesting. Well, we need to see the damage numbers on Living Lightning. Maybe it's actually worth bothering now. Huh. Fix the bug where the Into the Breach would not benefit in the Selfless Remnant support gem. Fix numerous bugs related to the player version of Asmeria's Spirit Possessions created by the Rite of Passage unique charm, not using their skills or otherwise not functioning correctly. Player version of Asmeria's Spirit Possession modifiers created by the Rite of Passage unique charm now deal dramatically more damage and use their skills more frequently. Enemy versions unchanged. We need to test the Living Lightning, but it definitely looks good. But I mean, so far, I'm super excited for Chunk. Fix a bug where Diala's Desire linear support did not grant quality to meta skill gems and I didn't grant skill gems. Aox's Fulmination linear support gem I was able to support non-curse skills. The heavy armor notable passive skill and adjust the description to be more clear. Fix an issue where Shockwave Totem was able to be socketed into Ancestral Warrior Totem. Echoing Cry was able to support Ancestral Cry. Melting Maelstrom unique Ultimate Mana Flash was able to hit enemies. Some unintended supportability, mirror charge and Deadeye for some skills. I mean, they've already mentioned this. They're repeating themselves. Where the calculation of Infernal Legion was always a critical hit if it had any amount of critical hit chance. Fix the bug where the calculation for Infernal Legion was always a crit hit if it had any amount of critical hit chance. Blam! Fix the bug where some types of reviving minions that are intended to inherit player movement speed modifiers were not doing so. Please mention specters. I know it's not the case, but please, just write specters. Make me happy. Specifically, Smith Kitava's manifest weapon. Row a mount while the player is mounted. Hyena summoned by the high 6 claw unique talisman. Well, I have it. Anyways, pick some cases where two effects
Don't like it. It's
empowering
shit.
one skill use would not stack as expected. Fix an edge case interaction with a blood price unique helmet reservation combining with other reservations. Some cases of skills that are inherently triggered and not being considered triggered skills for other stats.
I'm so tired. It's 10 a.m. in the morning.
Fix a bug that caused Grim Feast to sometimes fail to revive minions.
Shoot
it has one job. Okay, nobody uses it anyways. Fix the bug where projectiles were ignoring ice crystals created by frozen locusts. Fix the bug that caused Ice Nova to have the wrong visual effects in audio when repeated. Where his winnowing flame skill granted by the unborn lich unique staff applied critical weakness on hit, and another bug where his triggered explosions from consuming ignite dealt no damage. Channel skills could not be interrupted by another channel skill. Abyss precursor tablets would add one additional abyss each instead of just enabling abyss spawning. Negative toughness did not apply more damage taken to the target. Now, negative values of toughness will apply an equal amount of more damage taken. Effectively, each 100% of toughness halves the damage a monster takes, and each minus 100 by toughness doubles the damage a monster takes. Fix the bug that caused players to be unable to respawn if they die to Atziri, or Cipicado, or the Royal Architect in party play. Fix the bug where bosses could occasionally push players out of their arena. Rude. Iron count from using sword impale skill. Swords, by the way. Issue that prevented the bloated Miller's backhand swing from being able to be blocked, parried, or evaded. Fix the bug that caused some boss skills to be unable to target player minions. Fix an issue which caused abyss pits to sometimes not close. That one was annoying. Fix the bug where increased chance for maps to contain summoning circles was instead providing base chance for maps to contain summoning circle. Fix the bug where Rogue Exiles had a higher maximum infusion count than intended. An issue where the boss arena force field could sometimes fail to be removed in the stronghold map after defeating the boss. Fix the bug where experimented monsters in the synth flesh lab could sometimes get stuck. An issue where beyond bosses were getting more damage reduction than intended when they first spawned. The bug where Arc provided additional chains regardless of where the lightning infusion was consumed. Fix the bug where the poison and critical hit modifier on the Atsak site unique helmet did not apply to critical hits and with thorns damage. Reloading and switching ammunition with the crossbow is counted as attacking. Fix the bug where many bleed chance modifiers did not apply to thorns. Certain trigger skills could generate energy. Prism of Belief. Oh. Fix the bug where the Prism of Belief unique jewel could roll modifiers for solar orb. Okay. I thought they were actually going to fix the fact that there's two different tame beasts and two different, race specters, and one of them does something, the other one does not. Stoicism support was able to support non-attack skills. Volt supporting correctly had the chaining tag. Iron Wars Noah wasn't correctly affected by astral projection. Lightning Warp was prioritizing selected targets instead of callable enemies or ball lightning projectiles. Increased area effectiveness as boosted attacks were actually multiplicative. Fixed the bug where blink, parry, and ray shield was not counted as skill uses. This also fixes a bug where using parry or ray shield did not count as channeling. Fixed the bug where surpassing chance to fire an additional arrow could cause lightning rod arrow to fire an incorrect location. You can replace an incorrect checkpoint when respawning after dying to some bosses. Fix the bug where corrupting essence could sometimes remove the essence. Oh, I've never seen that. Fix the bug where minions in essence monster packs did not have their stats increased due to being part of a rare pack. Jelly fog would visually continue to spread where the game was paused. Fix the bug where items without modifiers could appear in lower level ritual encounters. Fix the bug where you could not open a portal in the boss arenas or the creek map after killing the boss. Roving wisp encounter in Creole Village was unable to be completed. Summoning circles were blocking projectiles after the boss is defeated and they crumble. Shrines were difficult to highlight when surrounded by enemies. An issue where you could be desynced when walking near the Tree of Souls after freeing the hooded one in Grellwood. Fix the bug that could cause the players to visually move away from the center of the screen when slowed while in werewolf form. Fix an issue where the following quest wouldn't complete if you left the area before the boss had finished their death animation. Strike Island, Isle of Cain, Wakapano Island, and Abandoned Prison. Fix a bug where the soul core ultimatum encounter would be complete using a single soul core. Huh. Fix a rare issue where there wasn't a small soul core available to use in the first stone altar in Jiquani's Machinarium. Fix an issue with the Abyss world map icon in Narkanu failed to complete when completing the corresponding abyssal depth. Dude, I think they've been cooking pretty well so far. I'll talk about it in a TLDR fashion in a bit. Fix a bug where the shoreline hideout world map icon did not complete. Fix an issue where ground effects could display incorrectly in Path of Mourning. Fix an issue where certain sources of player movement would sometimes cause the players to move in a slightly different direction from what was intended. This was particularly noticeable when using a controller and with skills that have inbuilt movements such as dodge roll and most melee skills. Fix an issue where Katy Perry's description did not state that all hits can be parried by her, instead just mentioning strikes and projectiles. I just read. Fix an issue where the Varasha's Blessing lineage support did not state that it does not modify the skills of minions. Descriptive change, okay. Fix an issue where Herald of Blood incorrectly stated that his damage was based on max life and now correctly stated that his damage is based on blood loss. So here's that. Bug where various hit sounds effects were playing too loudly for party members. It's a bug that would prevent the audio cue for any shield being depleted from playing if the cause of the depletion was damaged over time. I'm going to be honest, I had no idea there was an audio cue for that. Fix the bug where hovering over totems in the skill panels would incorrectly prompt you to right-click to activate if you had the Ancestral Bond Keystone passive allocated. Fix the bug where items that could not have an Exalted Orb applied to them were incorrectly highlighted when you went to use an Exalted Orb. How many more is... Okay, we're almost done. Whew. Fix the bug where double-clicking a portal or area transition with a confirmation pop-up would display that pop-up twice. Issue with boss health bars would be visible inside the Atlas screen. Fix the bug where your friends list could sometimes appear blank on PlayStation after experiencing an instance crash. But a blank friend screen is quite obvious if you're playing on a console, is it not? Is that a bug? Fix a bug where the upgraded variants copy them. I mean, there's a lot of people playing console, so you can make all jokes around it all we want, but there's a lot of people playing console. Fix a bug with the upgraded variants of grip or cooler map could not be stored in the unique stash tab. Fix the bug with the prices radius indicator could stop working in certain situations. And it's a bug where the unsupported character glyph was showing in the thousands place or certain locales. Fix the bug that could cause skills granted by the ascendancy passive skill to be hidden from the list of applicable skills when cutting a support gem. Word by word text navigation control left right in the next text fields would incorrectly wrap at the end of the text input in some situations. Having the hostile takeover quest completed on another character would show the Act 4 world map prior to your character being in Act 4. Shush! Fix a bug where the bulk move action wasn't available in the market earnings page while playing with a controller. Fix a bug where players revive while inside another object would not be moved to safety. Fix that bug where you could not select always attack without moving for some skills. Fixing an issue where disabling the crossplay setting when playing console would carry across when you logged into that account on a PC. Fix the bug where couch co-op players trying to join a public party would be refused if the party only had just enough space for them. Fix the bug when playing a couch co-op where the other players could be wrongly kicked from the party if player 2 created and entered a map. Cipocada's console could not be interacted with when playing couch co-op. Disconnecting and reconnecting the controller would disable haptics. Crossplay could be disabled in the setting while still showed it as enabled. Try to select the character in 2 different leagues when playing in couch co-op. Oh. Because we're selecting solo self-found character selection filter grayed out to create character button. Where controller haptic feedback for low health continued to play while the game was paused. I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know if it's because I'm drinking beer or if it's just because I have a fucked up sense of humor, but my mind is going places with this one. I'm just gonna be completely honest with you. Maybe that, or I just haven't grown up yet. Fine, my daughter's only 3 years old. I still have time to grow up before she hits her teenage years, okay? I still have time to grow up. Don't worry about it. Till then, I'm gonna find shit like this enjoyable and funny. Fix the bug where you can become stuck inside a scenery when you exit editing mode when using a controller. Fix an issue where the Edison's Charge Unique 1 was missing its 3D model. Pound's GMR did not reflect it being a metagem. Fix an issue where the Consuming Tentacle Rare Finisher was previously stated as being enabled in PV2, could not be equipped. Same thing with these effects. And we are done! Oh,